Progressive to get a personalized discount for doing exactly what you're already doing. Being a big driver.
This is a boom truck. Biggest one there. Okay, thanks. Oh,
Smile. Press as you covered.
What's going on, everybody? John out here with you. It is a Tuesday night, about 9 Eastern. We're going to have a puck drop probably about 7 or 8 minutes or so. So give you a little pregame action, give you some of the lineups per usual. So let's start with the LA Kings. Head coached by Todd McLellan, 43-20-10 on the season, second in the Pacific. It's Anze Kopitar, Quentin Byfield, Adrian Kempe with Mikey Anderson and Drew Doughty. Phillip Danault, Kevin Fiala, Viktor Arvidsson, Vladislav Gavrikov, and Matt Roy. Blake Lizotte, Trevor Moore, Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, Carl Grundstrom, and Arthur Kaliyev. He's going to draw into the lineup after the injury to Gabriel Vilardi. Alexander Edler and Sean Durzi will be the back-end defense, with Jonas Korpisalo, I believe, is going to be in net. And for the LA Kings, they are hotter than hot. We've talked about them from the All-Star break. They've been on fire. They've been the best team. They're 10-0-2 in their last 12, a franchise record points in 12 straight games, off a 3-game winning streak of note. They've scored 19. They've given up 9. We know we had that last game against the Calgary Flames and the LA Kings when it was 8-2, and I wrote the implosion article. We want to see if things are going to be different. That was with Alec Nava. Cooper Hopkins is going to be joining me tonight. We're going to split the broadcasting duties on that side. So it's all about attention to detail here for the LA Kings, because they do still have something to play for as far as a top seed in the Pacific. And for the Calgary Flames, it's the same old song and dance about what's available to play for here. They're 33-26-15, head coached by Darryl Sutter. It's Elias Lindholm, Mangiapane, Toffoli, with Noah Hanifin and Rasmus Andersson, Mikael Backlund, Jonathan Huberdeau, Blake Coleman, with Nikita Zadorov and Mackenzie Weegar. Nazem Kadri, Nick Ritchie, and Dillon Dube, with Trevor Lewis, Milan Lucic, and Walker Dewar. Dennis Gilbert and Troy Stetcher will be the back-end defense. For Calgary, Jacob Markstrom is going to get yet another start in net. I believe this is now 14 out of 16 games for Markey on that side. So it should be Jonas Korpisalo, 15-11-4, 294 goals against, 915. Against Jacob Markstrom, 20-20-10, 298, 890, and 1 shutout. For the Calgary Flames, since we last covered them, they had 2 wins and 2 losses straight up. It's still Tyler Toffoli that leads the Calgary Flames. Again, he's won a couple cups there with Darryl Sutter's the LA Kings. You got to imagine he's still kind of feeling himself on that side as he's being the team leader in points. 31 goals, 36 assists, 67 points at a +14. So Nashville, no matter what happens, they'll have 2 games in hand after this game today. They've won games over San Jose and Anaheim. They're coming off of 8-2 losses. The Kings have been described as a 3-2 loss, which I joined Cooper Hopkins in progress for that one against VGK. So we are just underneath the anthems now, and when we get back to it, we will get into the puck drop. So we're in the Canadian National Anthem now. We're at the Saddle Dome. John here with you. I'm expected to be joined by Cooper Hopkins. It's Pride Night here at the Saddle Dome, and there's going to be a lot of pride on the line right now for the Calgary Flames because they're 3 points out of the playoff spot. If we look into the NHL standings on that side of it, I'll pull this up here. Flames got 81 points. The Winnipeg Jets have 85, so it's 4 now. The Winnipeg Jets are going to be in action against the San Jose Sharks. The Nashville Predators, who are just behind, are in action against the Boston Bruins. When we get into the first intermission, we will give you the scores, we'll give you the news around the league per usual, and we'll let you know about the latest teams that have clinched playoff spots. There's still a lot to be discussed in the West, not as much in the East, although seeding is still a thing, as most teams are at the 11-10, 9-game mark left on the season. So we are in the home stretch, probably just 2 weeks and a half left to go in the season. And then we'll get time to get to my playoff predictions and the first round seedings and everything else that we have. So here we go. It's Jonas Korpisalo and net, 15-11-4, as we said, with 294, 915 save percentage. He is going to be the goalie this time. It was Phoenix Copley last time. We had a really easy night. It was pretty uneventful and an 8-2 win. And on the other end, it's Jacob Markstrom, 20-20-10, 298 goals against, 890 save percentage, and technically a shutout because when it gets into the shootout, even though it was a loss for the Flames, that's going to count. So Nazem Kadri, you're going to have to see if there's going to be some extra in the tank for him as well, because now that plus minus continues to balloon in the wrong direction. He is a minus 18 now for the Calgary Flames, although he's still third in goal scoring. So things will have to change, and they have to have it bounce back to the Calgary Flames after the 8-2 drubbing just from the implosion article on that end. So now it's Jonathan Huberdeau after the face-off is won, and this is Adrian Kempe gets a chance to pick this up for LA. LA is going to be going left to right on that side. They're in the white jerseys with the black pants, and the Calgary Flames are at home are in the red with the white and orange piping on that side. So this is flipped in by the LA Kings. Hanifin will pick this up off the back end. He'll try to chip this, not over the glass, but just over the other side of the defense before he gets intercepted here by the LA Kings. Stretch pass goes across the flaming sea, and he gets blocked by one of the Flames. As this is picked up, there'll be some quick line changes here. John here with you on the Saddle Dome. I'm expected to be joined by Cooper Hopkins for this one, whether it be in the interim. This one goes just toward the right side of the paint as somebody gets absolutely smoked, and that was, I believe, Andrew Mangiapane, and a penalty hand is already up in the air just 52 seconds into it. And it's going to put the Calgary Flames on a power play. This is exactly what they would want as Darryl Sutter looks on. You see the sea of red at the Saddle Dome. And as they're 4 points out of a playoff spot right now and running on a runway, this is everything they have to have. As Mangiapane might have also blown a tire a little bit, but he got driven into the boards by Phillip Danault, getting a stick in the feet. So Phillip Danault is going to go to the box. He's a good 200-foot player on that side, so that's certainly the wrong guy that you want to have in the box. As Todd McLellan says, look up on the video board. You got a little piece of that on the side, not all the stick. That's what Danault is pleading, is Blake Lazat. Going to get set to take the draw against Mikael Backlund, and he does win it clean. And Gavrikov will spin this around the inboards. Vladislav Gavrikov to pick up from the Columbus Blue Jackets. As it's Rasmus Andersson. We'll get this now, and I will get Cooper Hopkins in here. As this is the Calgary Flames on the power play. Mangiapane toward the left side wall as he just got hit with a check. Spin this around, and Gavrikov will flip it down one more time as Markstrom will touch this near the left side of the red line, and the Flames will start again. So it's Rasmus Andersson off the drop pass. And now Huberdeau will make the pass here for Mikael Backlund as he tries to get this one across. And this is picked up by Toffoli as Rasmus will hold on to the point. And now it's Mangiapane into a ripper, but this bounces off the backside of Sean Durzi, kept in by Rasmus Andersson. Toffoli will play it across, and now Andersson into the traffic as it'll fall back to Toffoli in the high slot. Now near the right side dot. Toffoli is going to stay patient with a minute left to go in the power play. Fake the slapper is Lindholm. Now let it go off the screen, and it's in! The Flames score! Mangiapane! And they get on the board first.
Well, John, thank you so much for getting me in on the broadcast, my friend. And I don't want to dampen the excitement, although on my side, because of regional restrictions, I am blacked out from following along visually, my friend. So I'm going to be along as a listener as well as a host tonight. And I am very pleased, as a fan of the Flames, to know that they are on the board early. That's a huge, huge first goal, one they have to have against this super, super hot Kings team.
How do they block you out from ESPN Plus, my friend? This is a travesty.
It is. I think the restrictions even extend to the ESPN Plus side. Normally I'm able to access pretty much everything, but you know me. I'm always good for one or two technical malfunctions. And so unfortunately, I'm going to be entertained by your play-by-play tonight, my friend, and I'll at the color side.
Okay, so we'll figure this out. And then right now I have ESPN Plus, but again, maybe that's because of the Michigan side for me, but we'll figure that out. So it's a power play goal for the Calgary Flames. About 17:40 left to go in the first as Zadorov trying to get around Blake Lizotte, pick this up on defense with Mackenzie Weegar. Now Nazem Kadri, now at minus 18 for the Calgary Flames. It's continuing to go the wrong direction as his ice time is starting to diminish. 15 goals for Mangiapane. That's on the power play from Lindholm and Backlund, as this is in the defensive end of the LA Kings. Again, they're 12-0-2 in the last 14 games. And a 14-game point streak is a franchise record for LA. And they are making a push to actually win the Pacific and take it from the Vegas Golden Knights with not a lot of time left in the season, about 2.5 weeks. As this bounces back off the skate of Milan Lucic, now right to left come the Calgary Flames. They've just scored on the power play as Walker Duehr tries to pinch in, and Lucic throws the body, trying to get a hold on there as this is picked up by Rasmus Kupari. Fourth line's up for Todd McLellan squad, and now third line defense. Sean Durzee's pass to Arthur Kaliev. That gets knocked away. Noah Hanifin. Now for Duehr. And Duehr will flip this in across the red line. 2 shots to 1 as this goes through a neutral zone draw. And Calgary's got the 1 shot and the 1 goal on the power play.
Yeah, John, it's such a good sign. I mean, the Flames with an opportunity early, and as this is the refrain, one of many that we've had as we've covered the Calgary teams the Calgary games this year. We watch them be provided opportunities, create opportunities for themselves, and then they go wasted. This time, it's the exact opposite. They strike early. It's a big goal.
Yes, it is, and they're going to have to maintain this because, as you know, the last time these two teams played, it was completely one-sided, 8-2 on that end, and it was a very easy game for Phoenix Copley, although we have Jonas Korpisalo in that tonight.
It's true, and actually, I'm curious to hear your thoughts when we have a longer break in the action. What do you think the switch from Copley to Korpisalo could mean as this game continues? Obviously, it's already 1-0, but we'll see if he can settle in.
Absolutely. So face-off is won back by the Flames, but this is going to go back into the neutral zone, and now Zadorov have a chance to pick this up and sell this across the Flame and see as this is dumped in across the red line off the slap shot. Elias Lindholm trying to get to it first, but now the LA Kings able to chip and chase this thing with Phillip Danault. He was the one that was sent to the box with the Mangiapane goal, and the shot goes wide on Markstrom. And this is just sticked in through the slot and peeled back by Elias. So look to set this back up here for Nikita Zadorov. His stretch pass from about 40 feet as the Flames still in the middle of some line changes. Look to get settled back up again. This is Blake Coleman off of a long flip. This goes up the left side of the glass, and Drew Doughty will spin this around. And for Mikey Anderson, first line defense for Todd McLellan's squad and the LA Kings. And they have been stalwarts, as there's a good-looking contact there for Coleman. But now this could be a 2-on-1 for the LA Kings. Mikey Anderson sets it across, and Markstrom makes the glove save.
Yeah, John, Jacob Markstrom, and listen, I am going solely off of the tone of your voice, my friend. You put a little extra emphasis on that one. Sounds like he made a fantastic stop right there with the trapper, and it's good to see. You need Jacob settled in. Just as Korpisalo is going to have to find his game. Looks like Markstrom's already found his.
Yep, and absolutely for Markstrom, when we last covered, he was about a 280 goals against. Now he's blown up to 298, so they're going to need to settle this down against the LA Kings. And there is so much to play for here, as most of these teams are in action that are challenging it. It was a slap shot from Mikey Anderson and off the draw win, and Markstrom made the save, and we'll settle it down and do it again.
So, John, I'm excited to see what's going on around the league, and obviously as this broadcast continues, we'll have a chance to look in on some things. But do you agree with me? We've been in so many situations where we think the Flames are going to be out of it, and I think that they will be out of it if they cannot find 2 points tonight. What do you think, my friend?
I think it's pretty close. We've already gotten to that point. Again, I had written that article about a week and a half ago when these two teams played, where I thought that was the time that we could stick the fork in. You even thought the same thing, but they still have a chance now if they pick up these 2 points. But I agree with you. They've got to get both. There cannot be an overtime point here, as they're trying to hold on to this 1-0 lead and get more shots. Mikael Backlund trying to get the entry, but Anze Kopitar came all the way back, and he's able to steal this here for the Kings as they'll look to start this left to right. It's Adrian Kempe now. Viktor Arvidsson, look out for him over the last 3 games. He's got 7 points, 5 goals, and 2 assists. As Drew Doughty We'll get this here for Durzi, and this is pinball. Back off the stick of Jacob Markstrom, and this is more of an easier pass. As Nikita Zadorov will get this across. This goes off the right side of the end boards. Dillon Dube trying to be in full flight, got to spin back up as this will go D-to-D short side, and this will block and hit the LA Kings before it ever hits Jonas Korpisalo. It was picked up from the Blue Jackets. Here's a give and go pass as Markstrom able to flip this one back to Zadorov, but it's still busy near the right side boards. As Sean Durzi couldn't get his pass over, and this finds Jacob Markstrom. He's been checking the puck well right now. He made it save with the right glove hand. It's 5-2 for LA.
Yeah, that's something, of course, we'll keep an eye on. And as we've said time and time again, you expect the Flames to outwork their opponent and collect more shots over the course of the evening. But that doesn't really matter. I don't mind if the Flames only have 10 shots on goal tonight. Let's hope that half of those go in. So far, they are batting .500 with 1 goal on 2 shots. So, again, an excellent start for the home team.
As this is picked back up now off of another offensive zone faceoff win. There's a penalty hand in the air, I believe. This might go against the LA Kings for a cross-check in the back. There was a battle in between Gunstrom and a few other players there. We'll see who's going to get picked up. It looks like Rasmus Kupari. So this will be the second power play for the Calgary Flames upcoming with 14:06. But I want to just check my thought there for a minute because I'm going to look at this Sportsnet feed one more time. I saw a lot of cross-checking in between Lewis and Kupari. Lewis is getting worked over by Kupari, held in behind the net, and then Lewis had a few things to say. So let me hold my thought. I think it's Kupari in the box, but they're going to give it to Lewis for holding the stick on Kupari. So this is the LA Kings on the power play. I wanted to make sure I wasn't fully committal to that. So this is the LA Kings on the power play now. After Calgary just scored one, and Calgary's penalty kill about 10th in the league at 82%, 25% for the power play for the Kings. And a shorthanded chance off the backhand, and a couple of chances, and that was saved by the right pad of Korpisalo. My goodness. And now left to right come the LA Kings off the stretch pass, and this will go off the inboards, end up being a slap shot for Arvidsson that was brushed aside, and then flipped wide by a Durzi chance. Durzi again. And Markstrom makes the save. So end-to-end action right now. And now Noah Hanifin trying to get a piece of Sean Durzi. Things are starting to heat up a little bit here.
Yeah, John, I can tell just by the way you're expressing the action here that things are starting to pick up. And both of these teams know what's at stake. I mean, I think the Kings not only would love to get closer, as you said, to taking over that top spot in the Pacific, and dethroning the Knights, so to speak. But the Flames, obviously, that doesn't really need to be described. They are fighting for their playoff lives, and I would expect things to continue to get more physical.
Yes, as it's 1:10 left to go here on the LA Kings power play. They just had a couple chances, and they had to survive a shorthanded chance for Calgary. Calgary has got the lead. 7-4 shot advantage, though, for the LA Kings as they have the puck now across the Flaming Sea. They gain the entry near the left side wall. As it's a chance for Alex Iafallo looking for a deflection. Now picked up in the middle of the slot, and this pass across was blocked by one of the Flames bodies and then sent back down. As the LA Kings have looked pretty dangerous on this power play so far. It's Doughty. He gets this one from Jonas Korpisalo as he'll make the pass back to Kevin Fiala. Just recently entered back into the lineup, still the LA Kings leading scorer. Alex Iafallo lost it. And this is picked up across the Flaming Sea again for Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty's being hassled a little bit. Iafallo have to pick it up near the right side red line as Fiala tries to make a pass. This gets picked up by Tyler Toffoli, former LA King. And now drop pass entry here for Rasmus Andersson, scores! Goes to the 5-0 of Korpisalo. It's a short-handed goal for the Flames.
Well, John Ott, this game is officially underway now. The Flames start on time. That's a Darryl Sutterism. That's a hockeyism. And it is one that I am loving right now. 2-0 Calgary, just a little over halfway through this first period. And they have 2 goals on special teams, John. They do it on the power play. And now after getting close at the beginning of their penalty kill, while still on the penalty kill, Rasmus Andersson, who you and I know has a little bit of an offensive touch, he makes it 2-0.
So we may get a challenge for offsides, and I don't blame Todd McLellan on this because Jonas Korpisalo has been under siege. That's what Cooper and I just talked about. And it was pretty interesting in the sense of, again, Phoenix Copley is not going to play every game, but his numbers have been excellent. It was Tyler Toffoli getting the steal on the defensive line that set it up for Rasmus Andersson off the entry. Maybe Toffoli crossed a little bit too soon there with Rasmus Andersson. I don't think a chance to take a look at it. So Rasmus Andersson, it looks like Noah Hanifin is offsides. He's trying to keep his skate blade off the ice. That might be what they're looking at. And this seems to be quick, and we will get the call. I think this might come back. Offsides, Noah Hanifin. So that negates the Rasmus Andersson goal, and we will do it again. Still, I will say this, Cooper, great play by Tyler Toffoli to be able to get the steal at the blue line and create an opportunity. Hanifin was in the wrong spot. Again, if you could see the video feed, we might be talking about why was Hanifin even there to begin with. But it's 1-0 now.
Yeah, and that's a great description by you, my friend. Thanks for walking us all through that. And unfortunate, obviously I was very excited to see that Anderson put one between the wickets of Korpisalo. And you know what? I'm going to make a statement here. I think it's very, very important for the Flames to get that goal back. I think if we find ourselves in a tie hockey game here, that could turn the tables in favor of the Kings overall.
Yeah, I agree with you on that side. So it's going to be a neutral zone draw win, and it'll be the LA Kings back on the power play, abbreviated for 5 seconds. That goal was taken off the board, but the Calgary Flames still up 1-0. And now they'll get rid of this in the defensive zone. Nazem Kadri makes the pass. This bounces off of the back skate at Dillon Dube, but cleared in. So 1-0 with 11:55 left to go in the first. And we're going to get some live scoring updates. Cooper Hopkins and I still will be able to do the first intermission, second intermission the same way that we do it. But I'll try to make sure I get him a video feed here for the second. I'll throw my password across on that and see if it works. So this is picked up off the chip out by Matt Roy. And Roy will play this across there for Edler and get it right back. They'll do the same thing as Kevin Fiala is watching. This actually goes off his back skate and picked up now by Blake Coleman. As Roy will have to go back in and play to the defensive partner again, and Vladislav Gavrikov. Kings a little bit sloppy in the defensive end right now. This is a far cry from the all systems go game about a week and a half ago when it was an 8-2 decimation. But again, it's still early, but we didn't even see this kind of push from the Calgary Flames throughout the entire game for the most part. As Jonathan Huberdeau able to send this one back in, and this will go back to Roy one more time as the Kings going to get hemmed into their own defensive end, but there's not a lot of pressure yet from Calgary as they try to get a steal into the neutral zone. This is gain the entry, drop pass, follow, and this is blocked before it hits Markstrom. Now this is in the offensive end here for the Kings as Lewis will try to get this out. He is back from being in the penalty box in the sin bin. Milan Lucic now couldn't track this thing toward the right side boards and out to the neutral zone. Here comes Kaliev off the drop pass. Nicely set up for Durzi! And it's a tie game. 10:36.
Well, John, this is just exactly what we were mentioning. And Sean Durzi makes it a 1-1 game here. The Flames and Noah Hanifin offside on that beautiful shorthanded goal that for a brief moment made it 2-0 Calgary. And we'll have to see if I am proven wrong here, my friend, because this is exactly what we were not wanting to happen, especially if you're a Flames fan. If you're a Kings fan, then you have the opposite opinion. But you know what? It's a tie hockey game here, and the Flames have an opportunity. Even though they're facing now a new hockey game, they have an opportunity to get that second goal back and continue the great play they've shown here through about 3/4 of the first period.
Absolutely. And in that previous shot, I got the slow motion replay there. A bar down beauty for Sean Durzi. Top left crossbar and in. That was a perfect shot from the defenseman. As they're about the halfway marker of the first, it's turned over in the middle of the left side circle. And there's a bullet dodge there for the Flames. And now the momentum is starting to turn the other way. Here's the entry as they have a triple team. Anze Kopitar to take him away from the puck as Durzi gets his 8th. Mangiapane, he's got the first goal in the power play, and this is stolen by Adrian Kempe. This is quickly going to go the other way, although it's 2-on-3, and Markstrom will find it and hold on with 9:56 in the first. We'll get a commercial break.
Yeah, so John, I'm just going to take the first opportunity as we have many coming up to look at some of the scores around the league. But one game that probably I think you could argue was the most important for the Flames is one that has yet to start. It's about an hour away from puck drop in the Bay Area. It's going to be San Jose hosting the Winnipeg Jets. That is an opportunity for the Jets if they are able to get 2 points tonight. I don't want to say fully pull away and really cement themselves a playoff spot, but if they do get that win, the math starts to tip in their favor very heavily. And then, of course, we also have to look at the Nashville Predators, who are in Boston tonight. And, John, with just over 6 to go in the third period, they have a narrow 1-0 lead over the vaunted Boston Bruins. So a win for the Predators tonight that would, I would say, be slightly unexpected. That also means a lot for the Flames, and they already need to get 2 points, but they're going to get pressure from all sides.
Yeah, and as you said, I don't disagree with you in that assessment for the Boston Bruins, but I will say this. Where is the motivation when you already have the number 1 seed locked up? That's the only thing I say that can play a point for the Nashville Predators. A desperate team for them in comparison to a not-so-desperate team for Boston. Would you agree with that at all?
Yeah, and I think just from a logistical standpoint, too, you have to think from a coaching staff and a management standpoint, when your team has been so elite, so untouchably successful throughout the regular season, you've done all the work you've needed to do. And like you said, mathematically, they can just sit down on the bench and watch the other team skate like they're taking practice at an open net. I don't think that extending themselves and risking an injury, et cetera, is a smart move for Boston. So you can understand why teams might take a few points from them as we close out the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And if you're thinking, because I agree with you, if you're going to have one team probably get lucky, or probably 1 out of 2, maybe Boston takes out Nashville. But I don't see any way in the desperation. This is just me speaking to you as a friend side, not even broadcasting. I don't see any way that the Jets lose to the Sharks tonight. I know anything is possible, but the Jets know what's at stake for them. If they drop that one, that's just really bad on their part. As we're back underway now, and this is picked up by Ritchie, and now Nick Ritchie will get this across here to Nazem Kadri. This was a crazy carom, and it's turned over again in the defensive end. Jacob Markstrom will play this with the stick, and I'll try this again one more time with Ritchie. Here's Kadri, as he'll make the pass toward the right wing side for Dube. He's got to slow up, but he's being held toward the right side boards. And now a pinch opportunity off the defense, and that was Ritchie and Mackenzie Weegar with the latest opportunity, but Korpisalo able to find it full on.
Yeah, John, I want to just follow up real quickly as we continue to look at the numbers and the waning regular season opportunities that are here for Calgary. With the Predators still with a couple of games in hand, you have to think if and when they get that 2 points, which they're closing in on there in Boston, it starts to become pretty difficult. In Winnipeg, they're playing, if we just look at wins, the worst team in the league. So, we'll keep an eye on it. But I think we can see the writing on the wall.
I think so. I think we're both in agreement on that side. So really all that matters at this point, you and I know this well, and fans of both of these teams know this well. It's 2 points that mean a lot for both of these teams, to be honest with you, because the LA Kings want to win this division as well. There's no way you want to get a more difficult matchup. As this is flipped in off the glass, this will stay in the defensive end. Troy Stetcher being bothered by the Kings. They're putting on a great forecheck here to try to force this turnover. And now Blake Coleman stuck in his own end. He's trying to get around Alex Iafallo. And Alex Iafallo has been everywhere right now. But it's Mikael Backlund. Now toward the right side red line. Off the drop pass. Here's Jonathan Huberdeau canceled out alongside the wall. Nicely there is Rasmus Kupari and Backlund trying to throw in some positioning. But this is now just a skate battle near the right side red line. Try to get sent back out to D. And this is collected by Markstrom. Now he'll play this all the way out of the goal crease by the left dot. Before this is picked up off the backhand, Rasmus Andersson able to make a play before falling down. And now here's a chance for Dewar. Dewar with a short side chance. Lucic trying to lift it over the bar. And that one goes to the right side. Here comes a slapper. This gets deflected out of the air as this is picked up by Lucic. Now Rasmus Andersson sent it back around for Milan. And now Trevor Lewis trying to win this off the stick lift before the Kings will get this down. Question is whether it's going to be icing, but this is negated with a great hustle by Rasmus Kupari, and we play on. So Walker Dewar, as this gets chipped in between his skates, he's trying to get this off the stick left, and here comes Milan Lucic as he dumps one of the LA Kings in full flight on that side. You got a massive human being coming after you. As this is picked up now, Sean Dursey will play this across, and this will settle back down from that Roy. Here's a stretch pass from about 60 feet that doesn't connect, and that's going to be an icing against the LA Kings.
Yeah, John, so you have the eyes of the prize, so to speak, here. I'm a little bit at a disadvantage, so maybe you can help me out. I just want to confirm that I'm hearing things correctly. It seems like the LA Kings have really started to take hold of this game. I don't want to say completely, but they, other than having to avoid a few checks from that third and fourth line from the Flames, those heavy hitters like Lucic, seems like the Kings have found their skates here in their stride.
They're starting to really press Calgary in their own end, and I think that can spell disaster. We called a lot of these games here, Cooper, on that side. If you can press the Flames a little bit, force them to turn it over, it obviously works the other way. As the LA Kings, they will have some winded bodies. This is his second consecutive icing.
Yeah, so, a nice opportunity here. This is something we've seen before where the Flames have ozone face-off chances and getting those wins and setting up in the offensive zone and just establishing some scoring opportunities or at least some ozone time. That could be the first step back to taking the lead again.
So Backlund will get a chance to take this. When he tried to actually win this one in between the legs, we'll see if they can pinch the right side of the blue line. It's Mackenzie Weegar able to hold it in, and now it's in behind the office looking for a fake wrap. This is sent back around for Nikita Zadorov, and this actually bounces off of Tyler Toffoli. This will still stay with the Flames near the right side of the red line as there's a battle for the puck in between 3 Flames, 3 Kings. And now the Flames have this near the left side wall as Zadorov will pinch in. It's Tyler Toffoli trying to keep this alive off the backhand and send it around to big Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov will just route the pass back to the left side, bomb, and this gets picked up. Mangiapane tries to get to it now with Adrian Kempe. Kempe will try to send this circle to circle, and they'll get this across the flaming sea and backhand this one down where it touches the glove of Markstrom. And we're still underway here with Nikita Zadorov now on his own end. About 6:25 left to go in the first. John out here with them, the play-by-play, being joined by Cooper Hopkins, but I'll see if I can get in the video feed here in a second, as this is flipped up now. Kevin Fiala off his forehand near the right side wall. He'll pull up. He'll make a pass in the middle of the slot, and that was expertly blocked by Nazem Kadri. That was a Viktor Arvidsson 1T in the middle of the circles. Now it's Noah Hanifin. Noah Hanifin's pass a little bit too far for Dillon Dube as the LA Kings have a chance of a 2-on-1 if they can get something here for Kevin Fiala, but this was last blocked off by the Flames before the opportunity presented itself. As it's picked up by Viktor Arvidsson, this is bounced in between Dube, but he lost his stick. He's got to go back. And this is sent back down for the LA Kings where they can start again between Mikey Anderson and Drew Doughty. Here's the entry. Doughty partially gets stick checked away. That's going to allow the play to pick back up here for the Flames. Backlund will send it in deep. Blake Coleman now. The left side of the red line here was Dennis Gilbert, third line defense out there for Darryl Sutter's squad. Alex Iafallo trying to win a chip and chase now for Fiala as they'll send this back around up the backhand, and Kaliev gets bodied. He was trying to make a backhand in front of the blue paint as this is picked up by Coleman. From a Backlund opportunity, this goes off of the stick shaft of Jonas Korpisalo, bounces off the backboards and now back into the neutral zone for the Calgary Flames. They'll settle it back down in their own end as we've hit the 5-minute marker. Nikita Zadorov will shoot this one from 100 feet. This bounces high off the inboards. Milan Lucic tries to play it, but they're going to blow it dead at 4:58.
Yeah, John, and so I'll do what I do best here, at least under these circumstances. Let's take another live look at what's going on. So with 3:38 to go in Boston, in the third period, Nashville hangs on to that 1-0 lead over the Bruins. You would expect, based on some of the comments that we made several minutes ago, for that score to remain and Nashville to take the 2-pointer. Again, San Jose and Winnipeg, they will drop the puck at 7:30 Pacific. That's 10:30 Eastern. And John, I don't want to miss this one. We got a really good game shaping up against a team that, even though they fell out of the playoff race, those Detroit Red Wings are fighting hard in a back-and-forth battle. They were up 3-0 against the Penguins. Then it was 3-3. Now it's 4-4, almost at the end of the third.
Wow, that really seems like the last meeting that those two teams had against each other. It was the Pittsburgh Penguins raced out to a 4-0 lead in the first meeting before Jake Wallman scored in overtime and did the gritty at PPG Paints. So hopefully for the Pittsburgh Penguins, they don't return the favor to my Red Wings, because even though Detroit's way out of it here, Cooper, it's still a rivalry between Detroit and Pittsburgh. And with no disrespect to broadcast partner Alec Nava at times, I know Pittsburgh's his team, but Detroit and Pittsburgh still a rivalry, and I never want to see them win.
Yeah, they are playing it like a rivalry game for sure. You got Perron and Archibald scoring just about a minute apart in the third period, and then there's been nothing since. So I think at Little Caesars Arena tonight, John, we might have some overtime hockey.
We will see that, and we can get a live look in if we get a chance to get to that. In the interim here, I'm going to load up the Instagram on the computer side and throw you a password and username just in case that will go through. I'll do that at the intermission side. So Walker Dewar, they show him in the last 5 games here for Sportsnet, 2 goals, 5 points, +3, 12 shots, 12 hits, and 10.5 minutes of ice time. So Walker Dewar making the most of his opportunity here, Cooper.
Yeah, it's good to see, and he's been noticeable in a very positive and strong way. Really, in most of the games that he's played, the Flames have some exciting young players. Dewar, Pelchier, who's been in and out of the lineup, and then Matt Coronado, star from Harvard, who's one of the top young players coming in and signs an entry-level deal. He's, of course, watching from the press box tonight, but you should see him in the lineup at some point, especially if the Flames mathematically fall out of this thing.
Yeah, that would be very cool to see that. He's one of the better prospects from everything I'm hearing for the Calgary Flames, so I'd like to see him suit up and start playing some games as Mangiapane now picks us up off the backhand before this gets intercepted. Anze Kopitar sent it back down for Matt Roy. As this is flipped in, Markstrom back out of his goal crease again. This one's just a drop here for Noah Hanifin. Now Hanifin, he's in full flight with Mackenzie Weegar. As this is intercepted before he could find Nazem Kadri. Kevin Fiala able to just kick this down deep, and now Nikita Zadorov get a chance to press this one as Viktor Arvidsson tried to make a play on Nikita Zadorov, but it was kind of a reverse hit. He got brushed right back, and this is picked up. This is a pass for Nazem Kadri that goes off the inboards, and Richie will try to get to it now. As hopefully they didn't trip somebody. It was Kevin Fiala. I saw he went down a little casually there. This is intercepted. Nazem Kadri keeping it alive off the forehand, and he rips it just wide of the right crossbar. He had the power. He did not have any of the accuracy, but Nazem was doing a little bit of a curling expedition there, trying to get around the bowling pins. As this is picked up now for Iafallo off the backhand, and that was a serious ripper there for Iafallo, but it went off the left pad of Markstrom. And now try to be recollected. Alex Iafallo tries to get right back to it on that third line side for the LA Kings. Blake Lizotte will send this in as Troy Stretcher will brush it away. Nashville's just taken a 2-0 lead, and they're going to win this one against the Boston Bruins with 1:19 left in the third for all intents and purposes, but we'll get that final when we get to it. As we got 3 minutes left to go in our first frame, it's a 1-1 game between Calgary and LA. Richie will take a look alongside with Coleman. And now this will fall back to Rasmus Andersson. It's Andersson and Hanifin on the defensive side right now, the fourth line of Dewar and Lucic. That's what I see right now as this is picked up here. Trying to be chased there by Trevor Lewis, and this is sent back down. Rasmus Andersson lost it in between his skates, but he was able to find it at the last moment. It's a 3-on-2. Calgary Flames have the 2. Dewar tries to send this out toward the right side of the red line. It goes off the right pad of Korpisalo. And this is kept in by the Flames. Here's Walker Dewar trying to keep this alive away from Iafallo. And this is picked up now by Lucic toward the left side of the wall. He's just holding on and kicking at that puck. And Gavrikov will get a piece of it now. Here's a chance for the LA Kings off the entry as Gunstrom will hold up. His shot gets blocked, and Lucic throws the body down on Gunstrom. Now here's Lewis. His shot goes wide. It scores intentionally off the boards. A slap shot. This one's going to count. It's 2-1.
My goodness, John, what a call on your side, my friend, and I love to hear it. That is the Flames grinding it away, and, this is not the Huberdeau Backlund line. We're not talking about Kadri. We're not talking about Dube, Mangiapane. We're talking about Lucic, Lewis, and some of the guys who were out there to throw the body. They did right before this goal goes in. What a sequence, and the Flames did exactly what they need to do. They get their lead back, John. It's 2-1 Calgary. That's huge.
That was left boards, back boards to right boards, and Walker Dewar from a Trevor Lewis intentional bank. Walker Dewar gets the rebound and puts the Flames up 2-1 with 2 minutes left to go in the first. That's a hard-working goal, and it started with a massive hit from Lucic and the defensive end. Another good play on the backhand side. Here's another opportunity, and Toffoli shoots this one. And this goes off the left pad of Korpisalo. So now it's 12 shots to 12. and it's 2-1 for Calgary. Walker Duehr with his 6th of the season. Toffoli near the left side. This is in the catching glove. Korpisalo will take no chances and hold.
Yeah, John, so I don't want to keep deflecting attention away from the game that we're broadcasting, but I do want to pull us back and focus in on your neck of the woods one more time, sir. It is no longer 4-4, my friend, at Little Caesars. It is 6-4 Red Wings.
Wow.
Courtesy of David Perron's 8th career hat trick, 2 more goals after his first goal of the night in the third. He scores them all in the final frame, John. And with 2:35 to go, the Penguins have an empty net. Red Wings are going to take this one.
That is incredible, and it really surprises me there, Cooper. I know he signed for another year, that David Perron wasn't one of those guys that was moved during the deadline, because I know we had plenty of discussion about this. I thought he had a lot left to give. A hat trick against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who, let's be honest, they're desperate. They need these 2 points, and they get taken out by the Red Wings for the second time.
An impressive night for Perron and the Wings. And John, I was able to get the live feed here. Detroit, they might put it in for lucky number 7 with the empty net now. Still 2:20 to go.
That is absolutely crazy, because the Red Wings, I know this is a sad state of affairs here, but they've won just 3 of their last 15, and now they're going to get one against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, this is a good night if you're a Red Wings fan, and it's a classic rivalry matchup. It is still looking that way because the Red Wings are fighting to get out of their own defensive zone right now. The Penguins, with that extra attacker, are putting some pressure on, so it's not over yet, but just 1:45 to go, and we definitely have some exciting hockey tonight. The Flames now up 2-1, and the Red Wings looking to close this thing out. 90 seconds to play in Detroit.
Okay, so I know that there's some sensitive eyes and ears, and I appreciate you guys following along on that side. Cooper, I just sent this to you here. You're going to get a user and a pass. We can try this during the intermission. We'll see if it takes me off, or we can both do it there. But there's my user, and there's my pass for ESPN Plus on the Instagram side. Try to get to the
Thank
feed.
you very much, my friend. That's very generous of you, and I will log out currently and then try to swap it over. So, I'm just excited, even though I haven't had eyes on it. You've been my eyes, the 4 eyes, as we like to joke sometimes. And so you've got to see, if we do the math, 4 eyes, 2 goals. So I guess, is that 8 goals for Calgary? I'll have to get out the calculator.
We'll get our calculator and our abacus and everything else out right now. Here's Drew Doughty off the deflection, and this bounces off the Flames before it hits Jacob Markstrom now near the right side wall. If you're Calgary, someone doesn't have a stick. Rasmus Andersson got hit up in the left arm. That's a little curious there. But again, if you're Calgary here, Cooper, we can say this. Can't concede a goal in the last minute. Here's Kadri with a ripper toward the right side of the glove for Jonas Korpisalo, as this is sent back down here for Nikita Zadorov. Now Dillon Dube off the entry of the left side wall, trying to be canceled off by Doughty. He gets double sandwiched, but this still falls with the Flames. They're patient now, as this is picked up by Zadorov. He's had plenty of opportunities to pinch as the extra forward at D, and now Duehr turns it over. Here's a break for the LA Kings. This is underway. Still Fiala, blinkered aside by Markstrom, and sent back down the ice. Wow, as it's Roy. He'll collect. 25 seconds left to go in this first. Arvidsson gets bodied off the puck, and that was just what we were talking about. But Markstrom bails out his team off the backhand as the crowd is still buzzing. Where is it? It's near the left side of the red line, down to 8 seconds. Here's Hanifin into the traffic and saved by Korpisalo. Markstrom with the biggest save of the game at the moment, Cooper.
Well, John, as we've noted now multiple times, I didn't even have eyes on the video feed for that call. But you got the excitement. You got me riled up. You got that moment captured in a nutshell. I was holding my breath, my friend. Walker Duehr, his play has been great. No question about it. But you know what? He's still a young player. And the Flames have had issues with turnovers and giveaways throughout this season. And it's no exception for Walker Duehr. And that probably should have been 2-2 if not for another huge stop by Markstrom, who has definitely picked up his play in the last couple months of this season.
We do have a development that we will have to keep track of. Unfortunately, I saw this on the Sportsnet feed. Mackenzie Weegar, skated gingerly into the players' bench with 6:01 left to go in the first. So the Flames should still have the lead, but hopefully we will see Weegar to start the second period. That's going to end the first. It's 2-1 Calgary.
Yeah, Mackenzie Weegar, not a loss that the Flames can afford, not only because of Weegar's skill set, but because Chris Tannen remains out with an upper body injury. Again, it's not confirmed, but we believe that is a lingering shoulder issue that even dates back to last year. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if former Florida Panther number 52, Mackenzie Weegar of the Calgary Flames, returns to this game. Thanks for noting that, John. So the Flames will basically be down 5 defensemen for an unknown period of time here, unless he can come back, and hopefully he can. I will simply wrap up here on a positive note. You know, we got a little bad news, good news situation. The good news is, John, there's some empty seats at Little Caesars Arena, but it's not because things have gone wrong. Lucky 7, I called it, pal. That is an empty netter now by your captain. Larkin makes it 7-4 and 2-1-0 on the clock. It is a win for Detroit.
That is absolutely crazy because I watched the first period. It's 3-0 after 1, and then 3-3. Pittsburgh storms back. Detroit, they bounce back because Derek Lalonde, he got kicked out of the game for arguing a goal call. He tried to challenge it. He didn't get the challenge. How would Detroit respond? And that David Perron and Larkin sequence, as you called, that puts a big surprise on my face because we said this. It's for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. I'll just be honest with you. I know the Red Wings are my team, but that's a team that Pittsburgh's got to beat, and they dropped 2 points today.
Yeah, they do, and they had a little bit of breathing room, and now they have even less breathing room. They still hold that second wild card spot in the East, but now they have to look over their shoulder. The Florida Panthers, even though the Penguins still have a game in hand, the Panthers are right there. I think the Sabres and Senators with 77 points are probably out of it because you have the Islanders and the Penguins there in wild card 1 and 2. But yeah, Florida is a team that we talked about not that long ago, John. I think a couple of broadcasts ago when we were covering the Flames. We thought about the Panthers being completely out of it, and then they snuck back into the conversation. And after a loss like that for Pittsburgh, Panthers are still right there hanging around.
Yes, they are. And let's just go across the scoreboard here. We do have some finals, and the one that Cooper kind of preluded to on that side was the Predators and the Bruins. And the Bruins, they lost 2-1. Again, they don't have a lot of stuff in front of them. They've already got everything locked up. Cody Glass had the first goal in the second period. David Pastrnak scored with a second left, his 52nd of the season, but Nashville takes a big 2 points. And if we can get everything refreshed on my end, essentially that is going to put Nashville up against Calgary now with 82 points, as the Winnipeg Jets will be getting underway against the San Jose Sharks. And then when we flip this back across, we've got a lot of windows open here on my side. So my apologies as we're going to go through the scoreboard here, and then we'll talk a few other things with Cooper. It is a 3-2 win for the Flyers over the Canadiens, a 6-2 win for the Rangers over the Blue Jackets. The Lightning get a humongous win over the Hurricanes as they're still trying to make sure. Again, Cooper, for all intents and purposes, the Lightning are going to be the 3rd seed. They're not going to catch anything with Toronto or Boston, but still, you want to make sure that you're peaking at the right time. Getting a 4-0 closeout of Carolina, that's a huge one.
Yeah, and you know what? Even though this won't sound like the most intelligent statement, to me, it just simply looks like the Lightning doing what the Lightning do. I think they are starting to show other excellent teams in the East. And boy, John, how much have we talked about the gauntlet that is the Eastern Conference that has been all regular season and certainly will be in the playoffs. My point being here that the Lightning are showing, listen, we're not going to get pushed around and we're not going to let you forget who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of feels that way. I do want to throw something out to you here, and we're going to play a little game with this, but this is a big win, it seems like, for the Dallas Stars. Again, there's still a lot of time left, but it's 8:36 in the second. They got a 3-0 win on the Chicago Blackhawks, 3-0 lead on the Chicago Blackhawks at the United Center at the middle stands with 8:07 left now. So you feel like that's going to be done. But I got to ask you this burning question here, Cooper Hopkins. If you could have a 3-course meal between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and this is how I'm going to do it. You're going to start with breakfast, the number 1 seed, and then 2 will be dinner, and the 3 will be the dessert, whatever it is. We're going to play the Central Division game. Right now, the Minnesota Wild have 95 points, the Avalanche have 94 points, and the Dallas Stars have 92. Who is going to finish the top seed, the second, and the third in the Central Division?
Okay, we're talking Wild, Avs, and Stars.
Yes.
All right. So going into the evening, so we're looking at a Wild team with 95 points, and that took them 74 games to get there. Then we have the Avs and Stars having played 73 games apiece, 94 points and 92 points respectively. The very, very first thing that I'm going to do is look at the Stars, who have had basically an average record over their past 10, John. So they're 5-4-1 over their last 10. The Wild have looked very strong. They have been, I don't want to say peaking because it hasn't been necessarily elite play from the Wild, but you know what? They've just been good.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't have to say more than what is true. I think they've just been good. Not perfect, not blowing anybody out, but still solid wins. And you know what, though? You know, I'm leaving for last, and I'm leaving him there for a reason, is because the Colorado Avalanche, John, 9-1 and zip in their last 10 games. They are, I think, going to be the main course, shall we say, in the Central. And I think that they will overtake. I think they're going to pull the Kings. I think the Kings will end up passing the Knights and taking the Pacific. I think the Avalanche will take the Central once again, with the Wild and the Stars in that order. What do you think, sir?
I know that we've talked about this in the sense I tried to call this a month and a half ago with the Colorado Avalanche, but I do want to give full marks, and I agree with everything you said with the Minnesota Wild. But think about that a month and a half ago. Were we even talking about Minnesota? No, because they were outside the wild card. They weren't even in a playoff spot, and now they're first in the Central at the moment. That is a hell of a run for Minnesota.
Yeah, no question about it. And that's true. I'm glad you give some context. You know, I'm thinking very recent, and it's continued a great run of play that has seen Minnesota really skyrocket into this position. You know, like I said, I don't think they'll hold their current spot, but they deserve a ton of credit. You know, I think that most folks who pay attention to the NHL the way that we do expected Minnesota to be a playoff team, but didn't really have much else to say. It's the Wild. They're there. They're not. We're not talking like the Blue Jackets where they're just they're there and you don't think about them. But the Wild really made a push to not only be in the playoff conversation and get themselves mathematically where they need to be, but they've looked great doing it. And this is a classic phrase, but tell me if I'm wrong. Regardless of where they finish, I don't want to play the Minnesota Wild if I'm any other team. What do you think?
Not the way they're locking down right now. When you have Philip Gustafson and Marc-Andre Fleury kind of getting a 135 goals against, and now they're starting to score goals, and this is still without Kirill Kaprizov. Yeah, they seem to be one of the more dangerous teams in the Western Conference. I don't want to play them either.
Yeah, and I like that you always come up with good games, my friend. That was a good one. Nice, simple, straightforward breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'll go, let's see, I guess we're having in Dallas. Okay, I don't mind a big meal for breakfast. We're having some barbecue for breakfast, and then Minnesota, let's see, that's probably what's the Minnesota cuisine that they're best known for?
You would be pulling something out that I don't know. What's Minnesota famous for?
Boy, let's go to the menus. Minnesota, okay. Let's just say we're gonna have a nice classic cheeseburger for lunch in Minnesota. But then the Avs, I think that's got to be.
You got to treat yourself.
We got to have a T-bone. You're up in altitude, the oxygen's thin. You got to have something enrich the blood. So I think you're going with a T-bone steak.
I'm with you.
Rare with the potato. That's because the Avalanche are always there. They fill up the score sheet. They fill up the point totals, and they fill their opponents with fear when it comes playoff time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. For the Dallas Stars, they've had this Central for a long time. I mean, it was the Avalanche. The Avalanche were never dead to rights. We never said that. I never threw that out there. They were just riddled with injuries all the way through February, as much going into March, and they just played above 500 hockey. They kept their heads just above water to do just enough to make sure they didn't take themselves out of the race. But if I'm Dallas, and again, I know we talked about this in our last broadcast, but I feel like I have to repeat it again in this intermission. and I don't take this top spot and I have to play against the Colorado Avalanche, I don't feel very good for as good as Dallas is. I know Jake Ottinger. I understand Jason Robertson. Jamie Benz had a resurgent year. Max Domi's been a great signing. I think it's going to be a great series. Should at least go 6 or 7 if we're doing some projections there. But still, Dallas, I think they want to win this division more so than any other team just because they had control of it. You and I talked about Winnipeg, and that's been a great story throughout most of the year, but I didn't believe that they were going to hold it. I thought they might get a wild card spot, and that's where they're at right now. But man, for Dallas, you got to be thinking about what could have been if you end up playing Colorado in the first round.
Yeah, no question about that. And Jake Ottinger deserves all the credit in the world, but when you're going to face a team that is so skilled and so seasoned, right? This veteran Avalanche team that has done it with different roster construction, but really has that core, right? The core that is in place, I think, is almost the envy of the league. I mean, you can point to a number of the top teams, both in the East and the West, and look at those top few players that really make up, kind of a team's personality and skill set. But when you look at the McKinnons and McCarrs of the world, and just maybe those two alone, I think most teams, if not all teams, would be jealous to have that. And come playoff time, you know that those guys, along with their teammates, are not going to mess around.
I agree with you. I just wanted to make a clarification as far as the message that I sent you. If the first password doesn't work, you try the second one. If either one of those don't work, then we're probably just blacked out. But I still don't understand why, because we've been doing a lot of Flames games, and you're based off where you're based in. It's not like we're both in Alberta.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I did try to select the Flames broadcast. I tried it specifically, instead of the Kings broadcast, of course, which makes sense since it's me. but no, I appreciate it. I was able to log on, and I'm not able to change off the location detection, so I am going to be blacked out on this. And I do have a little bit of knowledge about it. It's the broadcast partner that covers the Kings in the LA area has a really ironclad contract about how and when Kings games can be viewed.
Okay.
And I forget, it's obviously it's not Sportsnet. We're talking the Flames broadcast there, but it's I forget the name of the broadcaster here in Southern California.
It could be Valley Sports West.
They have the coverage of the Kings, but it's the same. They're on the same deal basically that the Dodgers are on, and there's been a lot of controversy over the past several seasons since they became their broadcast partner about blackouts and fans being frustrated with the limitations about being able to watch not only the Kings but the Dodgers, of course. So that's it's just one of those situations here in La La Land. But you know what? You do such a dang good job with the play-by-play. I get to just ride your coattails. I mean, I do anyway, John, so I'll just keep up the normal procedure. But you know what? I'm going to have my eyes on some of these other games that have playoff implications, and we can look at the big picture as we keep going here.
All right, sounds good. I just want to make sure that this would be a one-off, because when we do get in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I'll have to throw some fists if we can't get to work together again.
Oh, no, sir. No, we'll find a way. Hopefully, I mean, obviously we know these Kings are going to be in the playoffs. If I'm that limited with the Kings, and we'll see how far they go, then we'll find a workaround. But either way, no, we'll have plenty of action when it comes playoff time.
All right, that sounds good. So I know I didn't have a ton planned as far as intermissions and things like that, but I am keeping my eye on the standings. We can make this announcement official at least, because we have a lot more teams that have clinched since we've last talked. Last time it was just the Bruins and Carolina. So now in the East, you can add the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have clinched in the playoffs, and the big boys in the Metro between the Hurricanes, Devils, and Rangers have all clinched as well. The eliminations are the Montreal Canadiens and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And interestingly enough, because there's so much going on, we know that there's teams that are going to be in the playoffs that we've named, but nobody has clinched yet officially. But we do have eliminations of the Coyotes, Ducks, Blackhawks, and Sharks in the West. So the new additions, as we said, Toronto, New Jersey, and the New York Rangers, they welcome themselves to the party in the East, Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we watch all year long, isn't it, John? To see who's going to end up where and who's going to just miss out. But yeah, there's other teams too that you just mentioned that are officially eliminated. I mean, at this especially if you look at hockey Twitter and just kind of hockey social media, just as much a playoff conversation exists, a conversation about, you know what, who's going to get Bedard? It is, it's Connor Bedard watch time, and you're looking at teams like the Sharks and the Blue Jackets and even the Blackhawks of the world. And so actually, I'm going to pose a question to you right now. So you just gave us the rundown. Let's just keep it focused on the teams that are currently eliminated, right?
Okay.
So we're going to really look at that bottom section of our league here. If you had to choose, if you got to choose, John, where would you play? Forget a lottery. Forget it.
Okay.
Let's say John Ott gets to place Connor Bedard on a roster. Where is he going? Which franchise are you selecting?
I'm going to pull something out of the hat here. I know this team is due for a new arena in Tempe, and Gary Bettman's trying to get everything squared away. Clayton Keller has been absolutely phenomenal, and Arizona has been giving a lot of teams threats. Let's say that Connor Bedard goes to Arizona. Let's give them some relevancy, the new building and everything else, and wake that up. How does that sound to you?
You know what? I love it because that is not what I would have expected. Hearing you say it makes a ton of sense. But you know what? I really like that pick, and that could change. I mean, listen, he's going to change whatever franchise he becomes a part of. But you're right. Arizona has not let themselves be pushed around. They don't always get the W, but they are looking pretty good, including thanks in small part to the play of Juuso Valimaki, former Calgary Flame defenseman. He's had a bit of a career resurgence there with a new opportunity down in the desert. And yeah, John, that's a really smart choice. That's a really smart choice. I will come back to you and say this one I don't think is as original, although the irony here is we're going to talk about the original six, and I'm going to talk about the Chicago Blackhawks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that market, the NHL in general, is better when the Blackhawks are better, and they have been really run down over the past few years and are undergoing some major changes. Obviously, Patty Kane now with the Rangers, Taves still dealing with long-term issues and not playing on the active roster, and there's not a lot to look forward to. And I'm not going to say that I expect Bedard to be able to single-handedly reinvigorate a pretty moribund Blackhawks franchise right now, but I think he would signal a huge turn and an upswing for the Blackhawks that desperately need one. And you know what? That he would immediately become the centerpiece of Chicago and a new era. So that's my choice. Yeah, the Blackhawks.
No, I'm with you on that. I think that's the most logical choice. Hell, we talk about fans and you want to think about conspiracy theories and the lottery and everything else like that. Doesn't Chicago seem to be the one that just seems to make the most sense, Cooper, on that side? Get him to go to a big market, an original six franchise, and restore that birth from the legacy that Taves and Kane had left.
Yeah, and listen, like I said, I'm not claiming to be clever. I don't have the John Ott level of awareness, but you know what? I'm going to subscribe to it. I'm going to say no conspiracy theories over here. If it happens that way, we'll just say that's the way it happened by chance. Gary Bettman, he was just standing by and watching. He didn't have anything surreptitious going on. but I'm gonna just stick with that. That I just would like to see it. I think seeing him in that jersey and starting a new era for that franchise, which so desperately needs it. Yeah, I think that could be a great way to go. Although the last thing I'll do before we move on is I will say, even though they are not a marquee franchise and everyone's eyebrows raised when a certain superstar player chose to leave the Flames and go to Ohio, I think it'd be very interesting to see the likes of Johnny Gaudreau to play with Connor Bedard. So don't, not that we get to choose, but don't count out the Blue Jackets. I think that could change the entire trajectory and history of that franchise. I think everyone would have eyeballs on Ohio when normally they don't.
Yeah, you're thinking about 15 years of starvation there for Columbus, and any of these teams would be lucky to have them. But guess what? We have hockey back on the precipice here. We're just in the middle of puck drop as it's Calgary has a 2-1 lead. Again, now it's in the defensive zone. Blake Coleman tries to get a piece of this as this is spun back around. LA Kings trying to get this out of their own end as it's sent back down and recollected by Jonathan Huberdeau off the backhand. He's got Anze Kopitar all over him. This will be sent back around, bounced off a couple of bodies. Blake Coleman will have to spin, trying to pick this up near the left side of the faceoff dot, trying to skate away from Quinton Byfield. He's a good-looking prospect there for the LA Kings now in his second season. He's getting top-line time with Anze Kopitar, so it's a big-time opportunity for Quinton Byfield over the last stretch of games, especially when the LA Kings have been 12-2. Franchise record, 14 straight games with a point, as it's 2-5-2 last 9 home games for the Calgary Flames. They've got the lead right now, and they want to be able to keep this. Mackenzie Weegar gets a couple shots. Korpisalo doing the splits as Weegar's back on the ice, and this is sent back around the end boards, but to nobody in particular. And Weegar will have to check back up. They showed him on the Sportsnet feed kind of shaking out some of the cobwebs. I don't see any issues with his legs right now as he makes the pass, and he picks it back up across the left side of the red line. See if he can dodge a couple of hits. As Vladislav Gavrikov will send this down from 100 feet. And this is a good hit there by Lucic as he staple gunned Viktor Arvidsson into the boards. I think that was Ritchie as well. And this hits have been certainly happening, but we will see if Ritchie is going to get taken to the box because Arvidsson is very slow to get up.
Yeah, so John, again, because of my limitations here, so it sounds like Lucic was in on that hit along with Ritchie simultaneously. Is that what you were able to see?
It was Ritchie, my fault. Brett Ritchie.
Gotcha. Okay, so and I'm refreshing on my side here as well on the NHL Gamecast, and I'm still waiting to see if we have a penalty, but at this point, I'm not seeing one.
No, we are good to go right now. It was just the Arvidsson leg pin as we are back underneath the action here. 18:05 to go in the second as Lazat gets ridden into the glass. It's been a very heavy contest right now for the Calgary Flames. They're certainly bringing the energy in this game. You wanted to see that from the 8-2 drubbing that they took about a week and a half ago. As this is sent toward the right side of the face-off dot, and this gets sent back around to the left as the rebound goes all the way around the end boards. Now D-to-D. As this gets deflected out of the air. And Markstrom makes a save to the right side of the red line. Holds on.
Yeah, John, I think it bears mentioning since we talked about it in the first period, and now we're seeing it here very early in the second. Whether you like it or not, this is a classic Darryl Sutter team. He still has that mindset from 20 or even more years ago, which is big bodies make a big difference, and they certainly are for the Flames tonight.
Yes, they are. They're certainly making a entry into this game. And for Viktor Arvidsson, they talked about it on the Bally Sports side, is they didn't have Viktor Arvidsson in the playoffs last year. They didn't have Doughty, and they're going to need to keep some of these other bodies for the LA Kings to continue to do what they want to do, which is try to make a push in the Pacific and be a dangerous playoff team. Here's off the entry there for Hanifin, and that one shot high off the glass as Rasmus Andersson will collect. He negates a 2-on-1. This will go back to Rasmus Andersson from the defensive partner. And now Huberdeau will pick it up, gain the entry, survive a stick lift, and he'll fire it in, potentially off the backboards here for Backlund as he tries to make a toe drag move in between the legs, picks it up off the backhand, sends it back around the end boards here for Coleman. Rasmus Andersson, he's pinched in deep. A lot of these defensemen here for Calgary between Zadorov and Andersson, I know it's per usual, but they've very gotten up into the play. And they're making sure that they can create some opportunities, try to keep the LA Kings on their heels. I think it's needed. 16:50 to go in the second. As this is dropped, Rasmus Andersson will shoot it in from 100 feet as this is recollected by Trevor Lewis near the left side wall. Fake the slapper as Dewar. Now he's patient off the 5-hole, and that one shot above the net. Dewar now in behind the office, sends it back for Mackenzie Weegar. Patient now is Lewis near the right side dot. He fires a shot that goes back in off the end boards. And this will go back across the Flame and Sea where Mackenzie Weegar can settle it back down. Here comes the entry again. Milan Lucic gets his shot. Block Walker Dewar stays with it. Korpisalo does the splits and makes the save with the glove hand as we get some pushing and shoving.
Yeah, John, again, the pushing and shoving continues. No surprise there. There is a surprise between the Oilers and Golden Knights. Just over a minute in, the Golden Knights took a 1-0 lead over Edmonton. I think they have probably seen the score and between the Flames and the Kings and want to keep their position at the top of the Pacific. But the Oilers having something to say about that. They were on the power play after an insane sequence when Jonathan Quick was out of his crease and made a paddle save, diving in a Draisaitl shot. But all the same, the Oilers on the power play on the road tie this thing up at 1-1.
We might have to flip that across depending on how much time is left there too, because don't forget the Edmonton Oilers want to still have a say in this division. Don't know if they'll get far enough to get to that point, but it's not like they're buried in third place either. It's still wide open. There's a defensive zone pickup here for the Flames, and Rasmus Andersson will hit this off the blocker to Korpisalo, where it's recollected by Drew Doughty. Referee's got to evade the puck as it's Anze Kopitar off the backhanded pass there for the Kings. Sent back down. We will see if this is going to be iced. No, it's not. It's Rasmus Andersson back in his own end. He's skating now in full flight. He makes a stretch pass. Try to get the entry to the left side wall there are the Flames for Lewis. Lewis send this around now. Dillon Dube able to collect. That was Ritchie that got stuck underneath it. Now it's Nazem Kadri, third line. Now this is a chance for Dillon Dube, but in traffic, he was sticked away by Phillip Danault as Viktor Arvidsson spins this around for Doughty. Doughty intentionally banks this off the back end of the net to be able to get through, and now into the offensive entry. This is picked off. Here's the Flames. It's Nazem Kadri toward the left side wall as he gets canceled off with some body contact. It falls back to Sean Durzi with Vladislav Gavrikov. Gavrikov patient with it now. This will try to go right to left. It's Phillip Danault. Danault's pass a little bit too far there for Arvidsson, and Ritchie will collect there with Dennis Gilbert. Troy Stetcher, third line defense for Darryl Sutter squad, is Roy will try to get to it now. He's being bothered by Backlund as they try to get sent on across the blue paint, but the LA Kings will find it. But it's still tucked to the left side red line. There's some body contact under the left side boards. Try to get played by Huberdeau. Backlund can't find it. The LA Kings will emerge with it. It looks like a 4-on-3. Picked up by Fiala. Finds it in between the circles. And that was brushed aside by Gilbert at the last moment as he made a play falling down. But now it's not out. Try to get centered out in between the circles and sent back down the ice. Now Roy will be the first to collect. Calgary going to make some wholesale line changes. 14-10 left to go in the second. Joe Nutter with him, the play-by-play being joined by Cooper Hopkins. A little bit of blackout restrictions, so I'm going to take the play-by-play for this side as this gets iced.
So, John, I will jump in with a short game for you here because I know we have a face-off coming momentarily. So you mentioned Mikael Backlund's name, and every time I'm on the play-by-play side, I always make it a habit to say on this current iteration of the Calgary Flames, Mikael Backlund, the longest tenured member of the franchise. And so here's my question to you. A couple nights ago, he crossed the 900-game mark in his career, all of them with Calgary.
Wow.
Can you tell me the only two other players in Flames history to cross the 900-plus game plateau with the Flames?
Can I say Jerome McGinley, maybe Lanny McDonald? I'm not sure, so I'm going to throw those names out.
You got one or two. You got Iginla and the former captain, my friend, Mark Giordano.
Okay, I should have got that. Yep.
You got it.
That's good by you on that side. So we get a quick face-off. The other way, if this was saved, we get a commercial break. Man, I should have got Giordano. I'm mad with myself.
No, you know what? It's interesting. It speaks to the legend that is Lanny McDonald and that unforgettable mustache, which he still has, by the way. And he's a big active piece of the NHLPA and a part of the decision-making teams when it comes to awards time. But yeah, you know what? Lanny McDonald, I have to look it up. I actually forget where he was traded from. But he actually only played with the Flames, I think it was for 3 or 4 seasons, and ended his career winning the Stanley Cup in '89. Yeah. And then this one, I think you will know. So Lanny McDonald ends his career winning the Stanley Cup. Who was a rookie that year and began his career by winning the Stanley Cup with the Calgary Flames?
Oh, was it Joe Nieuwendyk?
Not Nieuwendyk, a good guess. I think he was in his 3rd year, but brand new, and he was only up for about half the season. He got called up, I think, from Moose Jaw. And I will give you a one-word hint: diminutive.
Who was it?
Theo Fleury.
Oh, man, yeah.
Wins the Stanley Cup in '89 with the Flames, and Lanny McDonald retires. So there's your bookend on the young and the old for that team back in the '80s.
No, that's a great job by you. I'm thinking about some of these names, and honestly, I forget that I pull out Nieuwendyk because Nieuwendyk was nasty before he got traded to the Dallas Stars.
Yes, he was. We were talking about Bedard potentially and almost certainly changing whichever franchise he goes to. I mean, Nieuwendyk was great with the Flames, but he changed that Stars franchise most certainly. Boy, talk about a new era. When he got there, things really exploded for them.
Man, they're showing some stuff on Sportsnet with a bunch of these players between Toffoli and Mikael Backlund with some new puppies. And now they showed Troy Stetcher and now I really want to get a puppy.
The power of suggestion. I mean, that's pretty good marketing. You got NHL players, the best in the world, with a puppy, which is pretty much the best thing in the world too. How can you beat that? I don't know if you can.
I don't think you can. As this is played now, this is a chance for the Calgary Flames off the backhand side, and Phillip Danault will send this back around as Mangiapane trying to locate this puck, but Gavrikov with a good skate out of his own end. It's now 21 shots to 16. This Calgary has got a 2-1 advantage with 13:20 left to go in the second. Joining with him the play-by-play, drawn by Cooper Hopkins, who's going to give some color here tonight at the Saddle Dome, as this is a big-time game here, but just like all of them, and as they've been, this is saved by Markstrom with the right glove hand.
Yeah, so John, the last several times I've heard you mention Markstrom, it sounds like he's making the kinds of saves we want to see, where they don't have to be flashy. He's in the right place at the right time, looking calm and collected. Would you say that's your assessment of him after that one goal that he gave up?
I do. I think this is probably one of his better games. I know there hasn't been a lot of bookend ones, but you talk about the shootout. I know it was ended up being a loss, but it counted as a shutout for Markstrom. This is probably going to be one of his better ones, considering the LA Kings have been hotter than a firecracker, honestly, so it makes a lot of sense. So Nazem Kadri looking for a slot pass off the deflection, and now it's Dillon Dube picking it off the right side wall. Dube, he's being held a little bit by Doughty, and now Danault trying to pry this loose. This is in the high slot for Zadorov off the right pad of Jonas Korpisalo, and Nazem Kadri will try to pick it back up, but he's trying to get around Viktor Arvidsson to Danault. Can they hold the blue line? No. This goes right to the LA Kings, who just end up dropping a stick, and now it's Nazem Kadri trying to work his way in the little circles. I don't even know how to describe that play. One of the LA Kings just lost their stick, still trying to make the play. It's Fiala. He's the one that doesn't have one. And now Kadri in the high slot. It's Uyghur, and his chance gets deflected off a diving shot blocked by Alexander Edler. Now to the left side of the faceoff. Now this is just very curious play. Edler trying to slam this around the kick plate, and now Fiala can finally get a stick and make a change. This goes across the Flaming Sea, where Uyghur can dump this in toward the left side of the wall. Backlund will try to get to it as he sawed over his stick and sent back down the ice, where Dennis Gilbert will touch with a hybrid icing. So Kevin Fiala was stuck out there for about 35 seconds without a stick, but he didn't concede a goal.
Well, yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's a pretty crucial piece of equipment right there. And one thing I want to make a quick mention of, since I do have on my side the Edmonton and Vegas game going, just so I can keep an eye on things around the league and certainly in the Western and the Pacific. Of course, I'm watching Connor McDavid with his classic 97 and that white road jersey. And John, 140 points, 140 points for number 97 this season. That hadn't happened since '96. We're going way back in the time machine talking about the Flames. So we flash forward from the '89 to '96. That was Gretzky in '87-'88, and then in '96, Yager and Lemieux for the Penguins, who were smashed tonight by your Red Wings. But 140 points, that's impressive.
That's crazy. And we're talking about 80s and 90s hockey, and this is 2023, if I get my years correct now, as it's 11:25 left to go in the second. This is elongated puck possession here for the Flames over the offensive zone faceoff win. They look good. Backlund now. We'll try to send one in for Huberdeau near the left side faceoff dot. We'll try to deflect it out of the air with the help of Coleman. Phillip Danault will collect. Viktor Arvidsson trying to keep this alive near the left side of the red line. He's been an absolute target on his back. As this is picked up now by the Flames near the left side wall. It's Milan Lucic spinning it around. Now Huberdeau. Huberdeau tries to find it to Stetcher. They can't hold the blue line. Hanifin able to get this to Stetcher before it's turned over. Sean Dursee's been out there for 2.5 minutes. As this is near the left side of the faceoff dot. Recollected. And now Danault in between the circles, but a stick save there by Markstrom as this is sent in. Noah Hanifin with the stretch pass trying to get this out of the defensive zone. Here come the LA Kings after the push from the Flames. And now a diving play in near the players' bench as it's Gunstrom. He's by himself, and this is a stick save by Markstrom as he brushed it aside. Just barely got a breakaway with a half a stride. Rasmus Kupari near the left side red line will send this in deep for Gunstrom on the fourth line for Todd McLellan's squad. And now this is picked up as Kadri just got it knocked away before he got his head taken off. And now Walker Dewar He'll try to spin around and grab this. Milan Lucic throws the body again as he takes it away from one of the LA Kings, and it's sent back down. That was Rasmus Kupari that caught a body from Milan Lucic. It's about his fourth big hit of the game, and I'm not even exaggerating. As this is picked up now for Nikita Zadorov, this is a nice bounce off of one of the LA Kings, allows the Flame to get some puck possession with Mangiapane. But here's Kopitar trying to pry this loose from the 200-foot game, but it's Mangiapane gets the steal back one more time. Kopitar is still not leaving him alone near the right side wall. And now this goes off the embankment back to Noah Hanifin in between the skate blades of Elias Lindholm, and this is turned over as his pass gets picked off by Adrian Kempe and sent back down for Drew Doughty. But we can all take a breath now with 9:15 left to go in the second. Doughty still with it across the Flaming Sea. Now back up just a tad as Blake Lizotte will fire this in. Jacob Markstrom goes to play. We'll just drop this right back to the defensive side, and we'll get to go again. Left to right across in the second period as Nazem Kadri gets dumped there by Viktor Arvidsson. Fiala gets this in deep there with the help of Blake Lizotte. Lizotte still trying to charge at this thing behind Markstrom's office as this goes in between the circles, but it's nicely intercepted. It's a puck battle, but a 2-on-1 is going to be won there by the LA Kings and Drew Doughty as Mangiapane gets tangled up with Drew Doughty, but the play is still live as it's Alex Iafallo. He's in full flight off the 1-on-3. Now he'll spin back. He'll fire. This one goes wide off the right side inboards. Here's a slap shot off the blocker of Markstrom, picked up near the left faceoff dot now, where Calgary can try to make some contact in the offensive end here for Dillon Dube. Now Dennis Gilbert, he's pinching into the right side red line, now working his way across the wall. Here's Rasmus Andersson in that same spot. Thought about wrapping it around. There's a slap shot chance on the front. Lindholm jamming away at it, and the ref signals no goal. And Tyler Toffoli just gets slammed to the ice, and now there's chaos. Dennis Gilbert throwing punches. I don't see who that is at the bottom for the LA Kings, but no goal was signaled by the zebra stripes. The puck is behind the net, but we will see what they will call and what Darryl Sutter wants to do.
Wow, John, another classic call from you, my friend. So entertaining. I just have to tell you that. Great job in that sequence to really paint the picture. My goodness, I can't imagine what exactly is going to happen here, but it sounds like at least one player is going to go. I know you said that Gilbert was throwing punches after the sequence, and Lindholm was jamming away. It seems like the Flames were right on the doorstep, making the same 3-1.
I'm trying to make sure that the ref is not blowing this too soon as far as the call. They're putting the headsets on. It seemed like Elias Lindholm was battling in between 3 LA Kings, and he won that battle, and he pushed the puck across a sliding Jonas Korpisalo. But they're going to go to the headsets. We're to a commercial break, 8:11 in the second.
Very interesting. Yeah, so we have a couple sequences here tonight, John, where the Flames they've actually scored 3 goals. Of course, one gets called back, Noah Hanifin, offside that eliminates Rasmus Andersson's shorty that would have made it 2-0 in the first period. The Kings would move on and eventually make it 1-1. The Flames get that lead back. And talking about leads, oh man, I'm just jumping back and forth now. And we were just talking about shorthanded goals. How about the biggest goal tonight? Killing a penalty. It's Carlson. He puts one in right between the wickets. Edmonton still has 1:18 in the power play, but John, there's not even 10 minutes gone in the first period. 4 goals in total. It's 2-2.
I was going to say, man, if I wasn't already covering this Flames and Kings game, we could have done the Oilers and the Golden Knights if I knew about the blackout restrictions. But both of these games have been very entertaining, and they mean a lot for both teams. So Cooper has given us all the evidence that we need in between all these games. I'm trying to give you the play-by-play of this. We're switching around. It's been a busy night. There's only about 2.5 weeks left in this NHL regular season, and it's going to come down to Game 82.
Certainly is, and so I'm still very curious. I don't want to deflect too much. I know I've been talking about games around the league, given my limitations tonight, but whenever you get that feedback going again, I know obviously your stuff, but I mean once the coverage is back, and oh my goodness, John, we may have to flip it over at some point. I just said it was 2-2. Guess what? I'm wrong. Leon Draisaitl says 10 seconds later, I'm going to take that lead right back. Power play tally for number 29. 3-2 Edmonton.
Yeah, depending on how late Cooper Hopkins will get to stay up, maybe he'll get some play-by-play of the Oilers and Golden Knights. I might jump into that as well. This can be a long night that I'd certainly be down for. It looks like a wrestling match in behind the net. There really is no other way I can describe it. So isolated camera between Moore, Edler, Lindholm. Here comes a cross-check from Mikey Anderson to try to take out Lindholm. The Lindholm pushes this into the net somehow. This bounces off of, I think, Edler's glove hand and beats Korpisalo. That's the rule that I had. We don't have an official call yet, but that's exactly what I've seen.
Okay, that's an excellent description. So they're still working it out there, and I'll just tell you that Leon Draisaitl now 3 goals away from 50 on the season. He also has 29 power play goals, which is the most power play goals for an individual player since 95-96. Now that's that same year we talked about a few minutes ago when Yager and Lemieux were both over 140 points. Lemieux that year had 31 power play goals, so a couple more power play tallies for Draisaitl. He's going to tie Lemieux. I mean, John, you were talking about different eras of hockey, like you said, but these Oilers at number 97 and 29 just make it look so easy.
So I know I don't have the particular totals in front of me as far as Connor McDavid and what he had, but he just hit 60, correct, not too long ago. Draisaitl's got 50. The easy math is 110 goals between the two. My goodness.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. And now, of course, I talked about McDavid hitting and then crossing the 140-point barrier. He's now up to 143 points on the season. It just never stops.
No, it doesn't. You know, we talked about this, I think 2.5 weeks ago. I said, does Connor McDavid get to 150 points? Well, now probably he gets to 150. Does he pass it?
You know, I think at this rate, and especially the way this game is going, John, there are 5 goals at the Fortress in less than 10 minutes played in the first. You got to think that big number 97 is going to be in on whatever else happens for the Oilers, so he could have 3 or 4 more points just tonight.
Well, I know Jay Woodcroft is used to games like this, and I know we talk about the Oilers like to play fast, just like the Gretzky Oilers and Messier and everything else mixed in between. But for Bruce Cassidy, I feel like you got to be pulling your hair out a little bit because the Golden Knights aren't really equipped to play hockey like that.
No, they're doing their best though. They are definitely in a track meet, and they're holding their own, and they're making opportunistic plays here. But the Oilers, apparently, they believe what you believe, John, is that they have still have a chance to climb up and take that top spot and plant their flag at the upper echelon of the Pacific Division. So we will have to see. And if the Vegas Knights fall tonight, depending on what happens with the Kings, that makes it interesting. It absolutely makes it interesting.
Because let's say that happens and the Oilers win, it'd be 95 points. It'd be 98 points for the Kings. I mean, they're right there. The Oilers would be only 3 points out if those results, as you said, would hold. We're still waiting word right now. We got an isolated cam as far as that, but it doesn't change the description that I last gave you. It was 3 players battling with Elias Lindholm in front of the net. It looked like it bounced off of Alexander Edler's right glove and past a diving Korpisalo, but we are taking a long look at this at the Saddledome with the iPad. So very thankful to have Cooper on this end to give us some other things because I've been waiting on this for about 5 minutes now.
Yeah, this is a really extended review here, needless to say. And yeah, John, much appreciated your breakdown of exactly what happened. It sounds like quite a scramble, and I'm wondering if it's taking so long because they're really trying to identify when the whistle was blown and the position of the puck in relation to the crease and the red line there. It seems like Lindholm did get the puck in. It's just whether or not it was in before the whistle. Do you think that's a fair question?
I think that's what we're looking at, and what we're looking at on the onset too. This is just observation hat on the sense of it. This could be a second goal that's called back against the Calgary Flames against the LA Kings today.
Yeah, and it's a tough pill. The Flames have been, just for whatever reason, bitten this year. We've talked a lot about how many posts they've hit. You were giving us stats about that number, which is just astronomical a couple of games ago in our coverage. And this has been part of the issue, too. You know, hey, it's hockey. You know the rules. You know that sometimes a skate may be offside. You know a play's going to get called back. But it seems to be more of an occurrence for Calgary.
So the post marker was a week and a half ago was 77, which led the league. As we're still looking at the video board right now, players are trying to get warm. I'm trying to see if I hear a serenade of boos at the Scotiabank Saddledome, and I think we're going to get a call now. No conclusive evidence that the puck crossed the line, even though in the video replays that I relayed to you that the puck definitely crossed the line.
Well, sometimes I hate being right, John. The Flames just snake bitten when it comes to the hockey gods and a little bit of puck luck. Sounds like that puck was in based on your excellent description, but it's going to remain a 2-1 lead for the Flames here, apparently.
Yeah, Darryl Sutter, I've seen him shake his head about the 9th time now as they just cut to him and now Toffoli. So it's time for the Flames to get back on track again. We've had about an 8-minute extended break, so what about the intermission? That was your intermission there. It's still 8 minutes left to go in the second. Still 2-1 Calgary as we are live now. Kopitar now for Mikey Anderson as there is some extended boos now at the Settle Dome. People got their hands up in the air on the video board as they're seeing it as play is underway. And this is picked up off the back skate, trying to get collected by Mangiapane, but Doughty does a great job holding him against the glass as Toffoli absorbs the hit. And Doughty will find this back to him. Toffoli trying to stick check his former teammate in Drew Doughty as this is picked up near the backhand, and that's saved by Korpisalo off Mangiapane.
Yeah, so for those viewers and listeners at home who have their pencil and paper out, you may tally that the Flames have technically scored a goal 4 times tonight,
yes,
but only 2 of them have counted. So that's why we still have a 1-goal lead in this game for the home team. But yeah, John, that's a tough pill. The Flames continue to have to swallow. And again, I'm going to just say the same thing we said in the first period. Even though they have a lead, I think it's going to remain very, very significant and important for them to try to get that goal that would have made it 3-1. Because again, I think if the Kings tie this game, the Flames are in real danger of letting things slip away.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. As this is picked back up off the backhand side, Mackenzie Weegar will try to send this around. This bounces off one of the LA Kings now allows the Flames to get this into the neutral zone, but they quickly turn it over as Fiala tries to send this the other way. And I have to try to refrain myself from looking at that Edmonton Vegas score that popped up on our feed as we're still waiting with 7 minutes left to go in the second. It is Huberdeau trying to get this now with Backlund, trying to put some work on Iafallo, and this will get loose to Nikita Zadorov. Now left to right attempt are the Flames as they'll dump this in. They are in the red jerseys. They're at home right now at Scotiabank Settle Dome. Joining there with them the play-by-play being joined by Cooper Hopkins as we're taking a look around the league and everything else that's been going on. We're getting very close to the end of the regular season. But this is a critical game right now for Calgary considering what the result has already been in Nashville and what could be upcoming with Winnipeg and the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, John, just an interesting note here is even on my ESPN side, we get the Western Conference playoff picture. Of course, we've been going over that all night, so I won't go through all of that top to bottom. But again, 3-2 your current score in Las Vegas, and that is 2 goals for the Golden Knights on just 3 shots. 12 shots for the Edmonton Oilers, 3 goals in. So there's a lot more to come here with 7:15 to go in the first, and then 2 more periods to follow. So we may have to have a serious chat, my friend, about keeping this night going and covering some more hockey.
I'm definitely down to do that. Who's in net for Edmonton tonight, Cooper?
So we got Skinner in net there, and then it's the former Los Angeles King, Jonathan Quick, on the other side.
Okay, cool. Because when you're thinking about it for Edmonton, again, this is not a disparaging remark on my end, but you got to find someone that's going to occupy the crease and be your go-to guy in the playoffs. And if you have Jack Kimball and Stuart Skinner right now, I think you're feeling pretty skittish.
I think so. I think that's the one spot, and that's been a bit of an Achilles heel for the Oilers over the past several seasons. We can talk about the Mike Smiths of the world, etc. But Skinner looking decent tonight, but he's let in 2 on just the 3 shots. So, I said decent. He has not looked all that decent tonight, letting in 2 on just the 3.
So this is a power play here for the Calgary Flames. About 1:30 left to go in it. Elias Lindholm off the drop pass. Rasmus Andersson in the high slot will send it across for Toffoli. He'll fire. This one bounces up in the air. Backlund trying to re-corral this thing with Mangiapane. Centered around the end boards, trying to be canceled off by Lindholm. Held in the right side blue line by Rasmus. Mangiapane across Toffoli into the traffic. And this is picked up by the LA Kings. Seem to be able to dodge that bullet as this is flipped in on Jacob Markstrom. That was pretty dangerous from 100 feet. You actually had to be alert to it. And now Rasmus Andersson will send this back down as this is picked up by Nazem Kadri. Power play line numero dos is out there right now It's Ritchie and Kadri. Ritchie will go ahead and make this pass out and try to be sent back by Nazem Kadri, but this goes off of King's body and up and on a play with 52 seconds left to go on the man advantage.
Yeah, John, here at the Saddle Dome, we've talked a lot about the physicality. Of course, Milan Lucic has been throwing hips and shoulders into anyone he can find, and he's not been the only one for the Flames. And I know the Kings have been pushing back physically as well, but I think we're starting to see the dial really get turned up across the league, and especially in these divisions where there are real battles. The Oilers and the Golden Knights not shy about throwing body checks tonight. Just watched Michael Amadio get leveled right outside the players' benches. He's good to go. He just got dropped, though, at neutral ice, and that wasn't the only hit. Evander Kane was throwing the body in the far corner a little bit earlier, so that's something I'm going to keep an eye on here as I keep track of other things in the NHL tonight. Definitely a lot of hitting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of pre-playoff eve in these last, let's say, 8 to 10 games left to go in the regular season. Kaliev had a short-handed 2-on-1, and that was saved off the left pad of Jacob Markstrom. And then the Calgary Flames in the next possession proceeded to go offsides. So the power play still had 29 seconds with 5 minutes left to go in this middle stanza. It's still a 2-1 lead for the Flames at the Saddle Dome. Rasmus Andersson clears this in around the right side red line as this is held in now and played by Noah Hanifin. Lucic will get this back out there for Lewis, and Walker Dewar picks it up. Dewar has it. Tries to get the pass across to Anderson near the right side dot. Plays it off the back skate. It's Ritchie. Center down in front for Dewar. And now it's a race for the puck. This is Adrian Kempe. And a shot goes off the right pad. It bounces back in behind the net as that was saved by Jacob Markstrom. But it's still alive now in the left side of the red line as players are coming together trying to pry this loose. This is picked up by the LA Kings. They'll send it back D-to-D with Drew Doughty. Series of up fakes there as Alex Iafallo will go ahead and collect it now with Kempe. Here's a chance now for Iafallo. He'll hold out the forehand. He'll drop this back there for the LA Kings and fire it just wide of the left crossbar. Up and on a play. 4 minutes left to go in the second. We go to commercial break. Jacob Markstrom. This has been one of his better games right now. A couple shorthanded chances, good rushes. We go to break.
Yeah, John, I'm glad that you're really driving that point home. And again, it's thanks to you describing the play so well that I can come away with the understanding that Jacob Markstrom is really doing an excellent job tonight. And that is a bare minimum requirement for the Flames to not only hold on to this lead, but hopefully, eventually, for Flames fans, expand upon it. Again, they've put the puck beyond the red line 4 times tonight, just the 2 counting. So we'll see if the Flames can get another here. But it's interesting. Markstrom doing a good job keeping the Kings at bay. You know they're going to make a big push here to try to tie this game up with just a few minutes to go here in the middle stands.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was almost one of those situations, again, in the first period that ended up happening. You got some overtime. I know this isn't standings implication, but between the Canucks and Blues, that's at 5 with 27 seconds left.
Yeah, that's not. I don't mean to disrespect the Blues and the Canucks. Not necessarily as high profile a game right now, but there was a 2-goal lead in that one that has been erased. And as you swiftly pointed out there, John, yeah, I think that we're going to have some overtime. So I might have to give the Canucks a little credit. You know, they have British Columbia rivals, and the Flames normally don't love to give them too much of a nod, but they're going to OT, so we'll keep an eye on that one as well.
So I'll just give everybody a quick reset here. There's about 4 minutes left to go in this middle frame. It's still a 2-1 lead for the Calgary Flames. 2 penalties for the Kings, just 1 for the Flames. It was all first period scoring. Andrew Mangiapane opening on the power play from Mikael Backlund, Elias Lindholm, then Sean Durzi at 9:24 from Kaliev and Carl Grundstrom, and then Walker Dewar from Trevor Lewis. There was a goal that was called offsides for a chance for Rasmus Andersson to finish that one off in the first, and then a goal that was called away from Elias Lindholm in the second. Otherwise, this could be a 4-1 game. But as it stands right now, an offensive zone draw win for the LA Kings as they'll send this in deep, try to get cleared out, but this was taken away before it could get lifted. Toffoli just trying to brush this in deep, although Calgary needs to get it out with 3:40. This gets loose in the middle of the circles, but this bounces off a couple of Flames bodies. Now near the left side of the red line is the Kings, still dangerous. Andersson trying to buzz at this alongside Kevin Fiala. Again, he said he just entered the lineup. Gabriel Vilardi is out. As Quinn Byfield gets tied up. Rasmus Andersson able to emerge with this as it's a 3-on-2. Rasmus Andersson, here's the cross pass. Mangiapane, and that was off the left blocker of Jonas Korpisalo. Mangiapane will peel back into the neutral zone now as the Flames can go ahead and get some of their changes. With 3:05 to go in the second. Here's a drop pass attempt, but this is picked off by the captain, Anze Kopitar, and now collected, but a little bit away from Trevor Moore as the Flames will try to relocate this thing. This is shot in by Nikita Zadorov, but now the Kings do have it. It's a 3-on-2 the other way now for Arvidsson, the right wing side, and he'll go ahead and take his change as Markstrom goes and plays it. He turns it right over near the right side of the dot, and this goes past Gavrikov. Here's a chance for Jonathan Huberdeau to use that big body. Picked up into the neutral zone now for Viktor Arvidsson, former Nashville Predator. He'll send this just wide at the left side of the crease. Sent back around. Gavrikov will take a look at it in the middle of the slot. What a stop by Markstrom with the left pad as he just robbed Roy. And now the other way could be a penalty. This one is against Blake Coleman for slashing, taking the stick out of the hand maybe. But I want to see if this is going to go against the Kings or the Flames. But we do have a penalty call upcoming. Good stop there by Markstrom, though.
Boy, John, again, thank you, my friend. Just keeping us all on the edge of our seats here. And Markstrom, he's the only one who's not jumping up and down. He's staying right where he needs to be and locking down that crease for Calgary. I'm refreshing things on the Game Center side as well. Not getting a penalty info yet. Let me know if you get it from the Zebras on your broadcast side.
I saw a stick taken out of the hand. That is slashing on Roy. He was the one that got denied by Jacob Markstrom. He slashed Blake Coleman, former Tampa Bay Lightning man, as we like to say. So Calgary is going to go on their third power play, and I'm taking a look at it now on the Sportsnet feed, and I think he chopped the lumber right out of Coleman's hand. That's a pretty easy call.
Yeah, that's always going to be called, and it seems like maybe a bit of frustration right there, and so he's going to sit for 2 for the slash. And now the tables have turned a bit here, John. The Flames, who already have a power play tally tonight, could get another potentially and get one late here in the second, which would really tighten things down on the Kings here as we get closer to the third period.
Yes, it would. Nazem Kadri wins the draw to Toffoli with the feed off the backhand. A couple opportunities. And Korpisalo says no, and he makes the save on Kadri.
I will say, again, just since we have multiple feeds going here, Skinner, even though we talked about things being potentially a little sketchy in goal for Edmonton, Skinner made a great diving glove save to rob a potential Knights goal that would have tied this game between Edmonton and Vegas at 3-3. It remains 3-2. Under 2 minutes to go here. The Knights are currently on a power play.
And this NHL schedule and all of your descriptions, Cooper, keep me on the edge of my seat. This is kind of fun looking at all these other games here. So Rasmus Andersson now toward the right side dot is Calgary. If they can get one before the end of the second period here, they got to feel pretty good. I know they've had a couple that have been taken off the board. Lindholm walks in between the circles, but this gets blocked. Here are the LA Kings. This could be a shorthanded opportunity. Mikey Anderson up a 2-on-2. He tried to center it in front of some teammate help, and that was Rasmus Kupari, but this is picked up by Andrew Mangiapane as he gets away from Kupari here, and now Nazem Kadri gets a chance to settle it back down. Lindholm will fire it in. And this is offsides with 1:32 in the second.
So since we are having so much fun looking around, John, and now we do have overtime hockey, as you noted, between the Canucks and the Blues, I'm going to take a quick peek here and see if I can get a live feed. Although we have Jacob Verana being interviewed right now, it looks like the lights have gone low. I think if I check my scores, John, we have a final with a 6-5 win in overtime for the Blues, with your game-winning goal by the man being interviewed on my screen. It's Jacob Verana. Just 21 seconds into OT gets the W for St. Louis.
Former Red Wing Capital, Jacob Verana. Good work by him.
You got it, my friend.
As this is flipped out near the right side red line. The Flames trying to keep this in. Gavrikov trying to get it out. This gets knocked away from Hanifin and sent back down the ice here for Jacob Markstrom. Markstrom hasn't to make those crazy passes yet. He's been able to make a lot more particular ones here as he drops it here for Mackenzie Weegar. This goes near the left side red line now. Chance for Dube to try to get into it now with Backlund. Dube trying to find some space. Jonathan Huberdeau jumps off the skates to grab this out of the air, but the LA Kings will emerge with it. Blake Lizotte, although it's 3-on-2, and the Kings have 2. They're trying to buy some time here for Adrian Kempe. Now Lizotte still killing some time. Kempe in the high slot, and that goes just wide toward the right side of the glass. And Mangiapane will collect. He almost ran in front of the referee, but this allows the Kings to get some more time as Tyler Toffoli throws the body on. Now he's trying to get a couple stick battles. Good work by Tyler Toffoli. Able to try to get to it, but Rasmus Andersson will collect as he can touch up, actually gain an entry. Now this goes to Toffoli. Rasmus Andersson tees it up, and this goes off the right pad of Korpisalo. Now an awkward angle as Mangiapane will try to spin around, and this will be collected by Phillip Danault. 360 spin with the puck, and now Trevor Moore settles it down. He looks up at the clock, and that's going to end the second period. 2-1 Calgary with the edge still.
Yeah, John, an interesting development here. Even though things were close in terms of goals going in and then being wiped away, no goals scored here in the second period that is now expired. Of course, the 3 were scored, 2 for the Flames, Walker Duehr being the most recent goal scorer, and then just the 1 for the Kings. But yeah, John, a bit of a different second period here. And let me just ask you, as we lead into the second, I know we have plenty to talk about. And also the Golden Knights and Oilers now going to their first intermission. But as we go to the intermission here at the Saddle Dome, what do you think about what we typically see from the Flames, where we see a strong first period, then a bit of a fading second period where they're kind of hanging on, and then usually, more often than not, they've been chasing things a bit in the third. Do you think they're on that trajectory right now? I know they have the lead, but you've seen a lot of this team. Tell me what you think we can expect in the third from the Flames.
I think I'm going to take the other side of the coin for once here. I know a couple of those goals have been called back. I'm seeing the effort that I need to see for the Flames to be able to get a big bounce back win against the LA Kings. I understand the LA Kings, again, 12-0-2 in the last 14 with a 14-game franchise record point streak, but the Flames have been playing them pretty even. And it's not just shots from the point to be able to try to get it done. It's been stuff in the slot. It's been rebounds against Korpisalo. It's been good puck movement. I think the Flames are playing one of their better games right now, but for the LA Kings, we know what they are, Cooper. You're going to have to expect that pushback.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I'm actually just looking now out of pure interest at some of the time on ice numbers for both teams between the Kings and the Flames. And so when we talk about that pushback, who's basically guaranteed to be out there regardless of the situation for Calgary? Well, it's Mr. 900, Mikael Backlund, who we talked about earlier. He is approaching 15 minutes of ice time. That actually leads all forwards for the Flames by a couple of minutes and change. So we have Mangiapane in the 12s, and actually Toffoli is into the 12s as well. Everyone else is at 11 or below. Interesting and not surprising for the Kings, leading their defenseman with time on ice, Drew Doughty. He's already closing in on 18 minutes, and we have yet to even start the third period. So the veteran is still putting in tons of hard work. And, he was a goal scorer against the Jets just a couple of nights ago. And, he's not just a defender. He can do it all for those Kings, John. So, it's obvious. But, that Drew Doughty's going to be motivated when the third period starts.
Absolutely. Hey, Cooper, can you pick me up for a couple minutes here? I'm just going to go use the facilities real quick.
Absolutely, my friend. So we'll just keep kind of going on what we've been doing here. Let's take another look around the scoreboard in tonight's NHL action. So number of games have gone final, of course. So we'll start in the East, where the Columbus Blue Jackets put in 2 goals, but the Rangers at Madison Square Garden tripled that amount with a win of 6-2 over the visiting Columbus Blue Jackets. A shutout in Carolina. So Carolina goes down hard at home, 4-0 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's the game that John and I chatted about in our first period coverage. Then staying in the East, we'll go to Philly, where Philly gets a narrow victory, a 3-2 win over the Montreal Canadiens. This one definitely has implications in the Pacific, the West overall, and certainly for the Calgary Flames. The Nashville Predators come away with a 2-1 victory over the Bruins. That game was 1-0 until late in the third period, and then there was a goal added by Smith, his fourth, and that was actually an empty netter with just about a minute and 20 seconds left to play. And David Pastrnak gets his 52nd goal with his assist from DeBrusk and McAvoy. He gets the first and only goal of the night for the Bruins at 19:58, so 2 seconds left to play in the game. And the Bruins put a bit of a scare into the visitors. But Nashville still gets the win, and they get 2 huge points right there. Talk about something huge. That was the Detroit Red Wings push. They had multiple goals in the first period. Going to load up the goal scorers here. Just give me one moment. We had Berger and Kopp and Kubalik in the first period. A 3-0 lead for Detroit at Little Caesars. But going into the second, 1, 2, 3, the Penguins answer with Zucker, Gensel, and Carter. So it's tied going into the third. And then, hello, David Perron. David Perron goes 1, 2, 3, almost a natural hat trick if it weren't for Archibald. So the Red Wings go 4-3, then it's 4-4 after Archibald's goal. Then the Red Wings go 5 and 6-4, and then Larkin with 19:23 expired. He makes it lucky number 7 for the victorious Red Wings at home. And then the game that we just talked about, the St. Louis Blues, they take it into overtime. They actually had a 2-goal lead until late in the third period there in St. Louis. The Canucks get 2 late goals to tie it up, but ultimately they fall. So the Canucks get a single point, the Blues get 2, and then that takes us back to the Saddle Dome, where it's 2-1. The Flames with the lead. No goals in the second period. We're in our second intermission. And as I mentioned to John before he stepped away, the Oilers and Golden Knights, they're in their first intermission, where the Edmonton Oilers visiting Vegas have a 3-2 lead. Also, one more game that's still underway. The Dallas Stars have a 4-1 lead over the Blackhawks in the Windy City with 3:30 to go in the third. And probably the most important for the Flames tonight, obviously we talked about the Nashville Predator victory over the Bruins, but the Winnipeg Jets are in a tie game in San Jose. The Jets are visiting the Sharks, and with 11:52 to go in the first, the Sharks are on power play. So things could get interesting there. We will certainly keep an eye on that scoreless game as we move forward. So there's the rundown on the out-of-town scoreboard. And John, you just let me know when you're back. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water so you can jump in, or just keep enjoying your break, my friend. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I know that we've gone through that. I appreciate Cooper letting me go through this out-of-town scoreboard and taking a break here real quick. We're getting some looks at our intermission in between the LA Kings and the Calgary Flames. It's been a pretty entertaining contest for all intents and purposes. We can talk about a couple of the goals that have been called off the board for Calgary. Pretty usual. It'd be the same type of thing that we can talk about this season, or we can talk about the other side of the coin. As I said, this is a situation where you just came off of an 8-2 loss of the LA Kings in your previous meeting. You got staple gunned at Crypto. No other way to say it on that end. It was non-competitive on that side. This has been a complete bounce back for Calgary. This is the desperation that they've needed. This is a whole different animal as far as what this team has done, even though the game's been close. So we'll take a look at it. 15-2-3 since the All-Star break for the LA Kings, at 825 points percentage entering tonight. I know they're not as active as far as that second half because the Bruins have 18 wins, but statistically, points percentage speaking, the best since coming out of the All-Star break. We knew what the expectations were going to be for the LA Kings. And I know last time when I did this game with Alec Nava, as far as the LA Kings were concerned, I asked him this, and I said, do you think that they were going to win the Pacific Division? He went with Edmonton. I went with the LA Kings. If you know about where I stand with the way that this team has been, I believed in them since the first round against Edmonton last year. They were without Drew Doughty. They lost in 7 games, and that ultimately could have been one of the reasons why they ended up losing that one. But I really believe in the way that this team is going. It's been a rebuild on the fly for LA, and their trajectory is nothing but up. But to see Calgary be able to do this tonight so far, again, we have another third period to go, maybe more, as it's still a 2-1 game going into this third period. We're in the intermission right now. But I believe in what the LA Kings have been able to sell, and they still have time, depending on what happens, as Cooper said, as far as between Edmonton and Vegas, who wins this Pacific Division.
Yeah, and John, we certainly have made mention of the most recent matchup between these two teams, in which the Kings really just laughed the Flames out of the building at Crypto.com here in LA. It was an 8-2 final, but if we look back, let's go back to, my gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago. 2022, my friend, it's already in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
The two games that were contested between these teams back on, in fact, my birthday, November 14th. That was a nice birthday present from my favorite team. The Flames won in Calgary against the Kings by a final of 6-5. And then just a few days before Christmas, on the 22nd of December, the Flames were in LA. They also lost that game. So the Southern California smoggy air, apparently not good enough for those up in the Canadian Rockies. That was a 4-3 loss for Calgary. But the reason I mentioned those games back in 2022 is because with our 2-1 scoreline, John, unless something, and it certainly could change very quickly, but unless something drastic happens, looks like we're going to have 3 out of 4 of these contests potentially be 1-goal matchups. I think that's pretty interesting. And even though the Kings are certainly in a different spot in the standings than the Flames are, Calgary normally doesn't get run out of the building like they did several nights ago. Usually they're competitive with this LA team.
Yeah, they are. And if you're a coach on the other side of things, I know I'm stating the obvious, but you want to see close competitive games this type of year be more conducive to playoff hockey, which these teams are trying to get to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, of course, Darryl Sutter knows these franchises so well. I'll be interested to see if he makes any significant strategic changes going into the third. I think the worst choice to make would be to try to protect this lead. I know that the old saying goes, a 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey, but I think against a team like the Kings and against a Flames team, which is not known to be able to score at will, I don't think you go into protect mode. I think it's time to try to get one of those goals that was waved off, try to get that back, get it to 3-1, and potentially even stretch it beyond that. I know with John, we usually like to talk about who we think is going to get on the score sheet when we have ourselves a tie game or an overtime game, who might get the winner. But you know what? This is the most obvious call, almost like my Connor Bedard to Chicago call. But I'm going to say keep an eye out for Tyler Toffoli. He's been so good for Calgary. He's a name that we've mentioned many times, kind of an unsung hero, not usually listed in terms of elite forwards. But on a team like the Flames that's desperate for scorers, he knows how to do it when he's close to the net. So look out for 73. That's my call.
I think that's a good one, too. I'm still going to go with the Rasmus Andersson, even though we had one that was taken off the score sheet. And on the other end, it just seems to happen every time that we do a Kings game between the Flames. If I don't mention Adrian Kempe's name, something's wrong. He's always around this puck, and he could be very well one of those ones that ties this back up.
Yeah, I think you're right. Also, for whatever reason, I think that Danault is a name that stands out to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's somebody you've mentioned several times. Of course, Fiala, he's been a big part of what the LA Kings have done here. But, you have to mention Kempe. I like that pick as well.
And I just saw an abbreviated look, because we're in the middle of the commercial break in between the Flames and the Kings, of what Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid were just doing to Jonathan Quick. I think they'd also have to hand him his jockstrap off of that cross pass in the crease. That's brutal.
Yes, it is. You know what else is brutal? This could end up being brutal. And I was talking about this when you stepped away very briefly. Puck has dropped a while back. We had a scoreless game between the Jets visiting San Jose Sharks, and you know what? It's tough to watch a little bit. I just got a replay here on the ESPN side. This is the intermission feed between the Oilers and the Golden Knights. But I got a replay of a goal scored, and guess what, John? It was not a goal scored by Winnipeg on the power play. The San Jose Sharks take a 1-0 lead in an almost empty building. So I guess they're doing it without much cheering tonight, but they still have a lead, and it's very interesting. I'm not saying the Sharks are going to take care of business with just a 1-goal lead against a driven Jets team, but that's quite a curious start there, and we have to keep our eyes on that one as well.
And if you asked me this, if I knew who Noah Gregor was, I would have got that wrong. His 5th of the season from Jacob Peterson and Fabian Zetterlund.
There you go, the immortal line for the San Jose Sharks. How could you forget any of those names?
Yeah, so Fabian Zetterlund went from New Jersey to San Jose in the Timo Meier deal. So hopefully Fabian's going to get a lot more TOI. I guess that's all you can say.
That's true. We did talk about time on ice between the Kings players and the Flames players. So, yeah, you're right. There's going to be a lot of TOI for a lot of those Sharks for sure. And yeah, that caused my eyebrow to raise just a little bit. I mean, hey, I know look, the Sharks may be, if not one of, mathematically the worst team in the entire National Hockey League, but it's still an NHL team, and when you get a power play chance, you got to take it. It was a bit of a fluky goal there, kind of bounced in off of the goaltender there for the Jets. But I believe is that Hellebuck tonight? I'm just double checking my stat sheet. Thank you very much. Just wanted to confirm he was in net. Yep. So it was a pass out of the trapezoid that I think bounced in off his skate. So a little fluky. Wasn't a pretty one from the Sharks, but they all count. And I know that the Flames, who are in the dressing room right now, you got to assume that they have seen that score, and they would love to get their 2 points no matter what. But hopefully, there's a little added motivation knowing that one of their fellow Western Conference rivals might be in danger tonight.
Yeah, and I know I can't say this with utmost certainty, but I do think if Kevin Cheveldayoff has to look at himself in the mirror and look at the hot seat, or even Rick Bowness, knowing at one point in the season, I know it was closer to December and January, that the Winnipeg Jets were first in the Central, and if there's a possibility that they don't make the playoffs, considering where they were, I think that's going to be a long off season, Mr. Cooper Hopkins.
Yeah, no question about it. And I hate to listen. I don't want to look for opportunities to disparage my favorite franchise, but if you're going to get chased down by a team like the Calgary Flames that really have kind of stumbled over their own feet, not from the outset. We've made a note that they looked great.
Sure.
The Flames looked great early in the season, but then after about the first 3 or 4 weeks or so, John, that's when the struggles began. So it's been an extended period where they've had a lot of trouble being consistent and having success night in and night out. If you get chased down by that kind of a team, that's a tough pill to swallow, don't you think?
I do, because when you think about it again, I'll say it today. We just talked about it between Detroit and Pittsburgh, and now you got the San Jose Sharks and the Winnipeg Jets. I know it's opposite conferences, but it's the same result. You got to get 2 points tonight.
Yeah, you definitely do, and I am cautiously optimistic, maybe foolishly so. I mean, obviously, I root for Calgary and cannot assume that the Flames are just going to magically get this win just because they took a lead into the dressing room after 2. But you have to like what you've seen from Markstrom. I think you've seen some really strong play, and this is one of the ironies of the team too, is that we're seeing some impressive play from those third and fourth lines for the Flames. And we haven't mentioned much tonight, John, other than to say, hey, where are you? The Jonathan Huberdeaus and the Nazem Kadris of the world. It just continues to boggle my mind, but here we are again.
Yeah, it is. It's in one of those same old storylines. We talk about our bingo cards that I told you that I don't want to make yet because I don't want to be blackout drunk doing these broadcasts. But yeah, it's the same old questions as far as that. Right now, we do have a lead for the Calgary Flames, and we will see if that's going to end up holding on. So let's just give you a quick reset there. 28 shots on goal to 22 in favor of Calgary. Hits are 20-14 on that side and 20-19 as they lead in those categories. They had 3 power play opportunities, scored on 1 for 33%. The LA Kings had just 1, and anytime I throw that out there, you kind of wonder if the LA Kings are going to get this next one, as we're going to get set here for the puck drop in about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, since we have just a moment left, I wanted to mention this. It almost escaped my mind, but we've been talking about the Blackhawks several times tonight, John. We mentioned that Jonathan Toews has been out with a long-term issue related to COVID and its effects on his body. He actually is returning to the ice for the Blackhawks, and he did not make anything official, but when interviewed, essentially insinuated that he is expecting this to be his last run as a Chicago Blackhawk. And that is not official again, but that is courtesy of ESPN. So another major news item could be the official end of an era in Chicago. So that is something we'll continue to talk about as we close out this season.
I got to tell you, as an original 6 in Detroit being in the Western Conference for a long time playing against the Chicago Blackhawks, to see Jonathan Toews' career go to an end like that after COVID situations, that's just sad.
It's a tough one, and the hope is, as he mentioned in his interview, and I can give some of the quotes later when we have another break, but he mentioned that he's just trying to get back on the ice, contribute as best he can, and enjoy this time, and then he'll deal with the future when it comes.
Man, that's absolutely crazy. As this is sent back down, it's going to be iced by the LA Kings. So with 19:50 left to go in this third, Calgary is going to have an offensive zone draw coming.
Yeah, John, as we focus our attention back to the Saddle Dome here, I think that a flowing game, one that doesn't have too many stoppages, actually is going to favor the Flames. I want to see them get into a rhythm here and hold it through the third. Hopefully play's not too choppy. I think they're better off if things flow in the third.
I would agree on that side because when it does get choppy, I think mistakes get made on the Calgary side and things go bad. That's what we've done for a lot of these broadcasts. Here's a chance in the middle of the slot, and this one is saved by Markstrom, and it's going to be an offensive zone draw here for the Kings.
Well, that's good. So Markstrom has shown that he's still in the zone here in this third period, even though it's very early. And, of course, the game is well underway. It's nice to just get one under your belt each period and feel like you're locked in. Looks like Markstrom's still solid.
Yes, he has been, as this is a offensive zone draw, win by the Kings, but the Flames able to actually steal this thing, and Mangiapane will just send this down to an open left wing. As this goes back in behind the net, Toffoli will brush this around the inboards. Zadorov's going to let this go quickly, and this goes off the left pad of Korpisalo. About 19:15 left to go in the third. The Flames have the lead, but it's a tenuous 2-1 lead, but it's a much different game than it was at Crypto.com Arena about a week and a half ago. And yes, that's what I have to say now. I'm used to saying Staples. As it's 19 minutes left, it's Matt Roy throws this across, and the LA Kings can get acclimated left to right in this third period. They have the white jerseys with the black pants on the road. Calgary Flames are in the sea of the red with the white and the yellow on the striping. As there's several players that went down toward the right side boards, but the puck comes the other way. Dillon Dube trying to race for it in the offensive end. Richie trying to throw the body as well, but Durzi able to get through this, make a 100-foot pass into the neutral zone now, but the Flames able to body this puck just enough as Gilbert gets it to Stetcher. Stetcher high off the end glass as this will fall back to Durzi, and we'll get it settled back up here with the LA Kings here for Edler. Now here's the sauce pass back to Durzi. In the middle of the neutral zone, this gets turned over. Now the LA Kings with Kaliev will send this back around there for Edler. So the forward's got to pinch all the way back as this is picked up in the offensive end by the Flames. Couple of stick battles as Edler able to get a piece of it. Walker Dewar trying to push the body into the right side of the red line as the Kings will try to get this. This gets away from Rasmus Kupari, and Rasmus Andersson's shot goes high in off the inboards. Jacob Markstrom will quickly play this toward an open wing. He gets tangled up a little bit with Kupari, but this is picked up now by Rasmus Andersson as this was played right in front of the blue paint. Rasmus Andersson now across the flaming sea. Here's Blake Coleman with a short side shot that goes high off the left side of the post and settled back down. Rasmus Andersson will do this again. Now Mackenzie Weegar, as they get their changes, will settle this in. Jonas Korpisalo will just jab at this thing, and it's going to allow Drew Doughty to try to go left to right in this third period for the Kings. And across the sea now, this is flipped in. With Alex Iafallo and Quentin Byfield as Zadorov gives him a ride. And now back here for Kopitar as he tries to play this off the backhand. Kopitar is still with it. The captaincy working hard off his forehand. Sends this back D-to-D. Now Doughty for Kopitar as he's being brushed aside by the left side blue line. Gets it to Byfield before it left the offensive end. As Coleman skates past him. Mackenzie Weegar back on the ice trying to chop at this. As this is flipped and cleared ahead by Zadorov. And this is settled back in by the LA Kings where it falls to Mackenzie Weegar. Weegar will drop it here for Zadorov. 16:40 left to go in the third. John here with the play-by-play. Joined by Cooper Hopkins as we're taking a look along the league. And I think we're going to have a little bit of a later night as far as some of these other games. There's some big ones on the horizon, but none bigger than this right now with a 2-1 lead for the Calgary Flames. They're trying to get a critical 2 points and see what the rest of their competition is doing after that. The 2 points are paramount first. As the backhand goes back to Rasmus Andersson. And across the neutral zone now, it's Elias Lindholm. Lindholm keeps this in off the forehand as a clearing attempt. Bounces off the LA Kings, but somebody just entering the ice there was Dillon Dube off the change. Will play it. Now he'll look to get situated toward the right side of the walls. Nazem Kadri is into the neutral zone, gains the entry, kept alive off the backhand. Dillon Dube tries to get to it. It gets centered out in front of the blue paint and picked off now by the LA Kings. LA Kings will chip this in with Vladislav Gavrikov, and it's sent back around the inboards by Gilbert. Kadri will play this to an open wing as this is collected by Troy Stecher. Stecher patient, looking for a deflection, and now Stecher has to get back on his horse, try to keep this in the offensive end. Nazem Kadri will jab at it as it's settled out of the air by Stecher and sent back down where the LA Kings can touch. So this has been a back-and-forth defensive affair so far within this first 5 minutes of this third period. We got about 15-20 left to go in the regulation here. It's a 2-1 lead still for Calgary. Walker Dewar off the backhand as this went away from Milan Lucic. This got centered out in front for Fiala. That went wide. Here's Durzi into the traffic, and that got blocked before it hit Markstrom as he's on the butterfly near the right side post. Wraparound attempt was a little slow. Flames trying to get this out, but the Kings hold the offensive zone. This is back in behind the office of Markstrom. It's Gunstrom at the fourth line for Todd McLellan squad. They'll spin and do a pirouette with Arthur Kaliev. Kaliev now near the right side of the red line. He's still with this. Lewis trying to find it, but here emerges Gunstrom. Will power his way in front of the net as the net almost falls on top of Markstrom, but it goes back into its moorings. It's still alive now as Durzi's trying to do a dipsy doodle. And we have a delayed penalty against the Flames. The Kings will go to the power play.
Well, John, a great job by you. That was quite a run of play right there. We talked about the game flowing, and there were no whistles for at least a handful of minutes right there. But unfortunately, when the whistle does go, it's for a penalty against the Flames. I'm a little nervous, my friend, biting my nails a bit over here on my couch in Los Angeles. Hopefully the Flames can get a penalty killed here. It's going to be massive. They got to keep this lead as time begins to tick away here in the third.
So a holding call, this one against Trevor Lewis. The face-off is won by the Flames, but the Kings hold it in. It's Kempe now near the left side down. You got to watch out for him. He's absolutely dangerous. He goes for a deflection with Kopitar in front, but that gets saved by Markstrom and picked up by Doughty. Kopitar, Doughty will crisscross. Doughty's still back in his own end as the forwards will get set. Looks like Kevin Fiala is still out there right now as they have the extra forward with Kempe. It's usually 4 forwards and 1 D-man on the power play side, and that's what the Kings are going to go with. Kevin Fiala was wide open on the other side for Kempe, but he was on his offhand. Here's Doughty, fake the slapper. Kempe tried to do the same across the blue paint and send it across, but the Flames will answer and clear that one down. It looked dangerous there for a moment, and Kempe probably could have wired the 1T, but he decided not to. Doughty now in behind the office of his netminder, Korpisalo, as the Kings taking a long time on their breakout. They're 7 of 12 in their power play in the last 3 games, about 58%. So they've been sizzling hot on that side. So Doughty picks it up. Danault, his attempt of a shot gets picked off by Weegar. Is this flipped off the end glass on the second opportunity? It is. And this will allow Tyler Toffoli. He was cherry picking a little bit here for Coleman for a shorthanded opportunity, but that got brushed aside by Korpisalo and sent back down for the Flames, and they can clear it again. So they got a shorthanded chance, and then they cleared it back down. Korpisalo now leaves it for Sean Durzi. Good-looking young defensive core for the Los Angeles Kings, and that's going to be a long way of having them go forward as Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty will probably making their exit after a couple of seasons as this is sent back around the inboards. Because that Stanley Cup core can't stay there forever for as good as they've been. As this is picked up now for Durzi, and now Danault toward the left side of the red line. Durzi gets the entry, but this is picked off. Flames, they try to make a pass to Mangiapane, but he was out of petroleum there. He's got to go to the bench. He went out of gas. So 12:30 left to go in this third, and the LA Kings inauspiciously run into each other to the delight of the fans. It was almost a turnover, but this is nicely collected by Byfield off of the back skate, and this is sent back down after the clear by the Flames. LA Kings have it now as the penalty's been killed by the Flames. Here comes a rocket of a slapper by Gunstrom. That's off the right pad of Jacob Markstrom, and now Mikael Backlund gains the entry off of a flip-in. We'll see if Lewis, who just entered onto the box, can go ahead and get to this first. Backlund tries to join in off the stick lift. He gets pushed aside by Matt Roy like a sack of potatoes, and now Ritchie is waiting for the right side of the post on that red line. And picked up now by Backlund and Lewis as they're still trying to pry this loose, and now Roy will emerge with it. We'll just matriculate this off the inboards, and this will be iced. So the Kings cannot change.
Well, John, just going to check in very briefly here in the game that I have the feed of, which is the Oilers visiting the Golden Knights, and it's still a goal fest here. 7 minutes gone, I should say 6 minutes gone in the second. A goal from Michael Amadio. Boy, he just was in the right place at the right time. Puck bounces off of Kessel's stick shaft and out in front of Skinner, and he closes that out from the low slot. Made it 3-3, but Edmonton regains the lead with Darnell Nurse just wheeling and firing a slapper that goes in the near post side past Jonathan Quick. 4-3 Edmonton.
So if you ended up wanting to do some play-by-play for that, you have to keep your pipe sharp, my friend. You got 7 goals with plenty of time left to go.
Yeah, it's a wild one, my friend. And obviously, I'm still mostly focused on the game that we are covering, but we got ourselves an exciting night in the NHL.
Yes, we do. We got 11:20 left to go in this third right now within our featured contest of the Flames and the Kings, although I know we'll be taking a look around the league. It sounds like 30 shots to 27. Calgary still out front by 1. With 11:05 now left to go in this third. John Hunter within the play-by-play being joined by Cooper Hopkins. It's been an interesting night. The Sea of Red is kind of sitting on their hands right now. It's another one of these one-goal games, and Calgary Flames, they lead at that. This is a long shot from 60 feet. That's saved by Markstrom, and this has to be cleared out of the other end. As bodies go down, that was Kopitar that got taken down, but this will fall back to Rasmus Andersson. And some body contact dislodged Lindholm away from the puck of the Flaming Sea as it bounced off the back skate. And now an elbow almost into the face of one of the Calgary Flames off of a change as Ritchie tried to go after off of the check, but this is Danault back in his own end as we're getting dangerously close to the halfway marker of this third as the time continues to dwindle away for LA. Again, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things as far as playoffs, but as far as positioning and number 1 seeds, they want to get this game just as much as the Flames do, I would imagine. This is picked up now by the Flames. Here's a stretch pass right in the middle of slack, and I like the wrist shot go quickly, and that was Lewis, and that one was shot wide to the left side of the glass. And Kaliev will collect off the back skate. He'll stop across the blue line, drop it in for Rasmus Kupari into the deflection. Markstrom got knocked down, but he made the save, and now the Flames try to get this the other way off a chip-on chase, and a 1-on-3, but Walker Dewar got canceled off. And now we got 9:40 left to go in this third. Dursey, outstretched pass, gets taken across the neutral zone logo, and this is picked up now by the Kings. Kings, they try to clear this. This got gloved down out of the air by Backlund, and he's going to fire it wide, and he was right near the left circle. As this is settled back down, Rasmus Kupari clears it, but this goes right in the hands of the Flames, and then the Flames will chip it in. Coleman trying to get a body contact. It'd be absolutely amazing if all the goals were just in the first period, and that kind of seems like the way that this is going right now. It's 2-1 for Calgary. Zadorov trying to hold that blue line. Jonathan Huberdeau fight through a couple of plays, leaves it there for Backlund. Coleman fires it right on, but it's wide toward the right side post. Weaker will just matriculate this around the inboards, picked up off the backhand now for the Flames. Flames patient. Zadorov will fire it toward the net. And this is a diving play, trying to knock it away from Blake Lizotte. Somebody was flying across my screen unbeknownst for the Flames, but Mackenzie Weegar will collect it in his own end. It's Nazem Kadri near the left side wall. Live off the forehand, gets through a couple body contacts, sends this around the inboards here for Ritchie. Now Nick Ritchie tries to play this there with the help of a give and go from Nazem Kadri, but this gets picked off. Kempe trying to get a stick out there with Dillon Dube near the right side wall. Flames have all sorts of offensive possession, but they can't make anything happen just yet. As Nazem Kadri puts this around the inboards, it's a chipping puck that gets knocked down, but Rasmus Andersson will have to collect it in his own end. 8:05 left to go in this third. Nazem Kadri gains the entry, but he gets canceled off by Anze Kopitar. Matt Roy will send this around the inboards to Adrian Kempe. As this gets taken away, this is a good stick check by Weegar and Kopitar. As they'll put it back down to the neutral zone. It's Adrian Kempe, number 9, trying to keep this alive off the left-hand forehand. Phillip Danault gets canceled off the left side of the wall. As it's Ritchie, off the backhand. Allow the Flames to take their time in their own end with Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov with his outstretched pass. As this gets taken away and collected, Lindholm will chop at it. Mangiapane trying to settle it down. We'll just take a no-look back pass, but this is going to allow the LA
by right now, and that is a big sequence keeping this game in favor of the Flames.
Yes, it is. And again, as I alluded to in some of the play-by-play, I'm very surprised that this game is still 2-1. I thought there would be some kind of push, but again, I tried to make this point there with you when we talked in the intermission. I feel like this is one of the better games that the Flames have played all year. I know you drove me for one of those Vegas games when that was a complete destruction, and then I joined in on the opposite side of it. But Flames are playing like this game matters a lot, and they're also getting the play that they need to try to stay out in front. I know the Kings can still push, but this is one of the better games of Calgary all year so far.
Yeah, John, that's saying quite a bit. You know, they've shown some good performances, they've shown some weak performances, but tonight they seem to be putting it together. We don't want to count our chickens, do we?
No.
We've seen things go south, but up to this point, you are exactly right. I'm happy to report that I not only agree, but the scoreline and the Flames' performance, including by Jacob Markstrom, has been some of the best of the year so far.
So let's just go through this again while we have the commercial break. I just want to get the goaltending numbers. So Jacob Markstrom, excellent. There really isn't any other word I can use. 29 out of 30 for a 9.67. That's as good as anything you're ever going to get all year. Jonas Korpisalo, not too shabby himself, 28 out of 30. But when I say 29 out of 30 to you, Cooper, as far as Jacob Markstrom, that along the lines is some of the best of the year.
Yeah, we're watching something different from the Calgary Flames in a situation where they absolutely had to have their best. And you know what? They've put a lot of pucks into the net. Unfortunately, they haven't all counted. But you know what? They also haven't let that break them down mentally. They still hold this big 2-1 lead here.
Yes, they do. And time is going to start running against the Kings. But I do know for the fact that they're empty net pool, they can do this here pretty quickly. They like to do it at the 4-minute marker. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. As we've got about 6:20 left to go in this third. Flames have iced this puck.
Yeah, so, John, you know, we're going to keep an eye on everything as we've been doing all evening long here. It's now 10 minutes gone, so we're at the exact halfway point, at least in regulation, of this game between the Oilers and the Golden Knights. Still 4-3 Edmonton, and this, of course, is on the ESPN Plus feed, and they are also taking a very close look at that Pacific Division race. There's lots and lots to talk about as Jonathan Quick covers up in his crease. 21 shots for Edmonton, 11 for the Knights, and that's halfway through this game. So great shot suppression by the visitors in Vegas.
And there was just an opportunity as we check back in with the Flames here. Quentin Byfield from a Kopitar feed. He's going to fire this one. It goes just off of the left side boards. He wanted to aim for that short side post. He had the space on Markstrom, but he lifted it high. He was aiming for the top right crossbar, maybe a couple inches the other way. This could have been a tie game for Byfield. 9-1-2 in the last 12 against the Kings for Markstrom for a .279 and .915 save percentage. As we're back underneath it now. 5:55 left to go in the third. As Backlund will get this here for Huberdeau. Huberdeau now on the left side wall. The sauce pass, and that was a good-looking play, but Korpisalo makes the save.
Wow, John, first of all, I didn't mean to step on your toes there with the Byfield opportunities. Thanks for walking us through that moment. And then, you know what? Korpisalo, even though he was a little shaky early on, he definitely settled in quickly. And he looks pretty good here in the third as well. This game has been a lot tighter than I think either of us expected it to be.
Absolutely. And Huberdeau's pass on the left side wall finding cutting Coleman toward the opposite dot, and that was just a perfect pass by Jonathan Huberdeau. Kind of shows you some of the plays that he can make when he's on his game. Unfortunately, it's been the other way most of the time, but that's some of the abilities there. As it's 5:30 left to go in this third. It's now 31-30 on the shot board. It's about dead even. But Calgary's one extra shot ends up being one extra goals. It's 2-1. They're trying to hold on to this right now. As Blake Lazat's got this in the offensive end in the high slot. Tees it up. Oh, Markstrom slides over and makes the save.
Jacob Markstrom, John. Jacob Markstrom is the reason. He is the reason. If the Flames are going to continue any hope of a push, they can thank their big Swedish goaltender, Jacob Markstrom. Unbelievable, my friend.
Absolutely robbed Kevin Fiala as we go to a break. That should have absolutely been a tie game. And Jacob Markstrom, I can say this now. I know the shutout aside, this is his best game because we're playing against the LA Kings. We talked about it. They have everything to play for right now. You can talk about desperation, and we can argue that to the cows come home here, Cooper, but I want to get first place in the Pacific, so I know the LA Kings want this as bad as the Flames do.
Yeah, no question about it. And it continues to be a fascinating night. And Jacob Markstrom, talk about fortitude and focus, basically resurrecting your season out of, I don't want to say nothing. Listen, he wasn't a complete pushover, but he was a shadow of the goaltender that he was last season when he helped drive the Flames to that brief playoff run. And you know what? He had to find his game because Dan Vladar, unfortunately, we've mentioned this, he was given that opportunity to take that number one spot. He's a solid backup goaltender in this league, but he is not yet at a place where he is a true bona fide starter. The Flames needed someone to grab that mantle. Markstrom has, and boy, does he have a grip on it tonight. So impressive from Jacob Markstrom.
5:19 left to go in this third as we go to a commercial break. It's still a 2-1 lead for the Flames. And again, your score reset is this. Every single one of these goals have been in the first period right now. It's been nothing since. And the Flames trying to hold on to this lead. And I'm getting the replay now. Kevin Fiala, this is a great feed out of the air. Fiala's in tight, and Markstrom just flies across from crease to crease, dives down and stacks the pads, makes the save as you're looking into his eyes right now in the close feed, as this could not get any crazier, and it's going to be 5:19. It's going to be a face-off win in the defensive end here for the Flames. I'll try to clear this down as it's collected now by Doughty. Doughty has it as we're getting close to the 5-minute marker of this third. Can the LA Kings tie this up? Can the Flames take a big 2 points they need to keep alive in this playoff chase? Those are the questions that are in front as Backlund tries to poke at this, and Huberdeau will send it down, and the Kings will have to get restarted again, left to right. Kings gain the entry off the backhand as Byfield overskated this a little bit, but this might fall back to him. Quentin Byfield keeps it alive off his backhand. Nazem Kadri doing some yeoman's work, trying to push more from the puck, but Quentin Byfield won't be dispossessed. And this is picked up now by Anze Kopitar, but now back into the neutral zone as Zadorov shadows him the whole way. Doughty will collect him through the neutral zone and across the flaming sea as Durzi tries to weave through a couple of Calgary bowling pins as this is wrapped around the inboards now. Fiala tries to get a piece of it, but Nikita Zadorov will win the race first, tries to clear it out, and the Flames survive some body contact from Phillip Danault as we're about 4:05 now left to go in this third as the clock continues to dwindle down here for the LA Kings. 31 shots aside between both of these teams. This has been a very good game right now. Glad that we covered this one. I know Cooper Hopkins, I'm very happy that he's able to join in with me on this one as we're taking a look across the league. Jacob Markstrom's pass gets deflected, but this is picked up by Dennis Gilbert and sent back down here for Matt Roy. Roy will look this off the embankment as Fiala will chip this across all the way to the opposite side of the ice. And Lewis will take a look at it. Lewis has it in behind his net. Trevor Lewis, his pass, a little bit missed off of the outstretch, but this bounces off of Lucic's skate into the neutral zone and it's sent back down by Doughty. Doughty now across for Durzi. We'll drop it across. Usually Mikey Anderson's on that side of it, but they're mixing it for Todd McLellan's squad. Here on the left side wall, good body contact by Lindholm to dispossess the Kings of the puck, but they try to hold the offensive zone. They can't. As this is sent back down, Durzi trying to keep this alive, but this bounces back into the neutral zone again. And now it's Toffoli against Doughty as he's shadowing his former teammate. Lindholm able to gain the offensive zone off the steal. It's Mangiapane. Toffoli sends this into the high slot. Toffoli will get it back near the right side of the red line, but Durzi throws the body contact right back. This gives it to Drew Doughty. 2:40 left to go in this third period. Everybody's kind of just standing right now in the Saddle Dome. They're waiting to see what's going to happen here as we're starting to run out of time here on the LA Kings. They gain the entry. Kopitar, his shot get answered by Markstrom, but now it's near the left side of the face-off dot. Battle for the puck near the left side boards. Flames trying to get this down. They get this into the neutral zone. Coleman trying to buy some more time. And the clearing attempt of Roy bounces off Coleman, but this will get picked back up by Roy. Now before Backlund swats at it, this will fall back to Markstrom. Uyghur trying to get this out. Good support there by Calgary, but they turn it over and now get a chance to pick it back up by Huberdeau. Huberdeau will flip this down to Korpisalo. We'll play it with the glove hand as we're down to a minute 55. Still 2-1 Calgary. The LA Kings have not been able to pull that goalie just yet. They're trying to get this left to right. As Arvidsson overskates. And now Ritchie trying to clear this thing here for Walker Dewar as it's sent back down for Roy. Roy will make this here as this is picked up near the left side wall for Trevor Moore. Viktor Arvidsson trying to get around Nazem Kadri as the Kings will pinch this in to the right side wall. This bounces over Trevor Moore near the right side boards as Arvidsson knocks down one of the Flames, and the net is empty. Jonas Korpisalo is out as the Kings trying to make some pressure, and Nikita Zadorov absolutely staple guns Arvidsson and gives him a cross check as we're still live. And this is sent back down the ice. This will be iced against Calgary with 112.
Wow, John, what an incredible finish we are in for here with now Korpisalo out of his crease. Also, big developments in Vegas, Edmonton with an absolutely gorgeous play on a bang-bang pass. Draisaitl dances one of the defensemen for the Knights and sends it backhand over to Kane, who roofs it to make it 5-3 Edmonton with 6:07 to go in the second. And now the Connor McDavid-led Oilers have a power play. But here we go. It's time to finish things up in Calgary.
So they can't win the draw. This is with the LA Kings. Send it across for Kempe. Fans on the 1T. And this is picked up now near the right side boards. Kings desperate to tie this one up. They got about 60 seconds to do so. Flip down the empty net. This will go wide, and this will be iced.
So the Flames, they desperately want that empty net or two. They're willing to take that risk, and the icing call, which of course was just whistled, it's going to be very important. Face-offs in your own zone, they are at any time, but especially when you're inside a minute to go with a 1-goal lead against a team as good as LA.
Yes, it is, and Kempe was wide open off that receive of the pass. He just flubbed on it. That's very uncommon on that side, but it happens. The LA Kings trying to win another offensive zone draw with Kopitar. They do. Kevin Fiala puts this around the end boards. Kempe patient with it near the right side dot. Fiala, series of toe drags. Durzi sent it to the net. Markstrom saves it with the glove hand, but it's loose. Flames have possession. They flip this one down, but this will be recollected by Doughty. Now down to 30 seconds as Fiala able to stay on his feet. Now he's back in the defensive zone, trying to make that stretch pass. Kopitar wraps this around. Markstrom got to get back in his net as this is picked up now by the Flames. They'll flip it back down again. Durzi will race for it. He'll win it. But now it's down to 15 seconds. Durzi, his pass gets picked off into the neutral zone. Fired into the empty net and scores! Flames take a 3-1 lead.
Ball game, John Ott, and can you hear that noise? I hear it loud and clear. It is the heartbeat of this Flames team. They are still alive. They may not get there, but you know what? They are making it interesting. Calgary with a massive victory against a very skilled and very determined LA Kings team. What an exciting night, John. This has been a great one.
So I want to make sure, because this was a goal call, but the ref signaling a delay offsides off the offside of the screen that I could not see. And apparently everybody else is very confused on that. So we're still going to have 11 seconds. It's still a 1-goal game. And now we're getting clarifications for both coaches. We will see if we put more time in on the net. That would have been Mackenzie Weegar's goal. This is going to be a 3rd goal for the Flames that is not going to count.
Wow, this is unreal, John. You got to be kidding me. The Flames have scored 5 times.
Yes.
Officially, only 2 counting. And this leaves a tiny bit of breathing room for the Kings. Okay, but we hold our breath yet again. Let's see if they can run this thing out and get the 2-1 win.
And my apologies to you. I know some of these ones, I try to do the best I can with it. I couldn't see on the camera view that it was going to be offsides. It was all the way on the other end. But that is what we got. So that is indeed the case. 3 goals that have been overturned. Elias Lindholm looks like he's not out in front with the puck before Mackenzie Weegar fires that in. He's already across before Mackenzie Weegar fires it. So no goal. 12 seconds now on the 3rd. So this is a chance to win a draw here for Elias Lindholm. He's got to do it. So this will go back here for the Kings. They'll fire it in immediately as they'll get a piece off with a pass, and they're going to enter offsides, and they're not going to like it. 7.8 now in this third.
Boy, John, I do not blame you, my friend. Hey, we always are just doing the best that we can here to tell the story of these games. And this game's story just doesn't want to end. The Flames just want to get out of this thing with a W.
Yeah, this is absolutely bizarre. I've never seen 3 goals called back in one game, not like this. And especially for Calgary, it's kind of just like taking the voodoo doll and putting a near needle into it. That's what it feels like right now. But again, 8 seconds away from it, and it's going to make no difference. 1 goal or 3 extra goals. It's going to be 2 points for Calgary. They're 8 seconds away from it. Another draw set up, come to the neutral zone. So Flames can't win this one. This is picked up off the backhand. Arvidsson got to hurry. Markstrom brushes it aside, down to 1 second, tapped out of the air and missed, and this will officially end it. Calgary could have been 5-1, but they'll take a 2-1 lead, and the big 2 points, Cooper Hopkins, they're still alive.
Yes, indeed. So I thought I heard the Flames heartbeat. That was my own heartbeat. My heart was beating out of my chest as I was just waiting for this game to finish, and finally we get zeros on the scoreboard, John. Excellently called by you, my friend. Thank you for picking me up throughout this broadcast with our limitations on the feed on my side. But my goodness, John, a 2-1 victory desperately needed by the Calgary Flames. They get it against a team that just quadrupled their goal total at Crypto.com. In their last meeting, 8-2, the Kings win the last time they met. This time it is another 1-goal game. So 3 out of the 4 matchups, that's what we talked about, between the Kings and the Flames this season were decided by 1 goal. None bigger than this one. The Flames victorious. And we will keep an eye on the Pacific Division. The Predators get 2 points tonight, but the Jets are in danger right now. There's still plenty of time in their game at the San Jose Sharks, but the Sharks hold a 1-0 lead. John, lots going on, including in Las Vegas, where you want to talk about goals, my friend. Nothing's getting called back in Sin City. 9 goals across, 6 of them against former King Jonathan Quick.
Wow.
It's 6-3 Edmonton.
So here's the thing for me. I'm down to hang out as long as you like. What's the game plan for you for the rest of the time? What do you want to do with this?
Well, listen, I have the feed here. It's what I've had on for a little while now, and there are 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the second. We're in a commercial break on the ESPN Hockey Night feed here. Do you want to just jump over and have some fun with it? I mean, I know this obviously you titled the Flames and Kings here on the Twitter Spaces, but we might as well just keep it going because this has a big time playoff and seeding implications.
Absolutely, we can definitely do that. I'm down to hang out.
Yeah, let's do it, man. So if you let me know when you fired up on your side. If you want to close out, I know you've been really doing a yeoman's work with the play-by-play, but if you want to close out this second period, and then we can chat our way through the intermission, and then we'll see what we want to do for the third.
All right, sounds good. So I got this flipped on now. This is on ESPN Plus between Vegas and on that side in Edmonton. This has been an absolutely wild game, and now you have Zach Hyman, it seems, in the box.
Yes, indeed, and actually that one may have been made official during the commercial, but either way, it's going to be a 2-minute power play for the Knights, and they need it because they got to get back in this game right now. They are getting walloped. They're getting doubled up, and the Oilers are about to clear this thing out. So I'll let you take it away, John, and we'll keep our rhythm going as we close in on the end of the second period.
So it's a Vegas power play, as Cooper said, that they really need. And again, I'm just going into this one cold, but we will see how this works here with Eichel and Theodore as this gets dropped back down for Jack Eichel. And with Jonathan Quick, he's having the old flashes of the LA Kings. He doesn't look like that type of goaltender with Vegas, though, but he's getting roughed up a little bit in this one. But Edmonton can do that. Eichel on front for Barbashev. And that was saved by Stuart Skinner as this is sent out for Theodore. Theodore now for Eichel, as they'll try to collect near the right side of the red line. Eichel will look for a pass out in the high slot. It's Chandler Stevenson weaving into the bullpens, dropping in for Eichel. And now it's Nicholas Waugh. Back to Eichel. Eichel near the right side dot. Still stick handling with it. A Shea Theodore. Chandler Stevenson sends it just wide and through the blue paint. as this is overskated. This might allow Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to make something up a shorthanded, but since he's near the bench, he'll take his change. Chandler Stevenson now here for Nicholas Waugh, as this is picked up by Edmonton. They're just trying to clear this out, but you never know the chances, some of their shorthanded chances, as this is picked up and spun around. Going to kill some time there for Edmonton as they'll smartly put this back in their own end and bleed time away from Vegas. I can't believe this is a 6-3 game with 50 seconds left to go. In the second against Vegas, they've given up 6. So Duradayev will get this one in off the end boards. It bounced off of Chandler Stevenson, I believe, is Connor McDavid going to get some shorthanded time. Jonathan Marchessault will dump it in deep, and Stuart Skinner will hold on with 33 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, John, I cannot tell you. Obviously, you see it in the numbers. It's obvious just on the scoreboard alone. But this has been a wild game. And we get another look at that shot from Barbashev. It was just inside the near circle. Boy, he had that thing wired. We've talked about pucks hitting posts tonight. He was about an inch and a half away on the wrong side of the post for making it 6-4.
Yeah, that's just 9 goals in between these teams. You think about what Vegas wants to do when they get into the postseason. This is the exact opposite of what they want. Edmonton, I guess they're feeling at home at T-Mobile Arena right now as Alex Pietrangelo will send this around the end boards for William Karlsson. So Karlsson, take his time. He'll gain the entry now into the middle of the slot. It's Phil Kessel. Phil the Thrill's got it. Gains it off the backhand. Going to leave it there for Marchessault. Marchessault at the traffic and wire it high. And this will go back. This could be a short-handed opportunity or a breakout opportunity. What a sauce pass out of the air from Kane to Draisaitl, but that's going to end the second period 6-3.
Yeah, John. I mean, I just can't even begin to describe the level of play here. It's just been all offense, fantastic passing, unbelievable positioning, odd man rushes, beautiful weaving plays through the neutral zone, and obviously the Oilers have had the best of it. So this is very, very intriguing because the Kings go down to the Flames 2-1, as we just called. And the Golden Knights are almost certain to take an L tonight. They have the capacity, John, to tie this game. I mean, heck, we don't want to count any team out.
Right.
We didn't count the Penguins out. They tied things up with the Red Wings before getting the doors blown off. But it can happen, and especially a team this good, they can make a run in the third period. But the Oilers look very determined. And they have one less game at their disposal as we close out the regular season. So we've talked about motivation so much. They're extra motivated to try to close in on that top spot in the Pacific.
Yeah, I mean, they got a favor from the LA Kings today as the Calgary Flames took the 2 points. So Vegas be able to keep their positioning. But, I mean, they do want to get to the century mark here, Cooper, but that's going to be a tall task. You're down 3 goals against Edmonton. I am not short-sighted to say and think of what I just saw of 2 minutes of action that Edmonton might get number 7 or 8.
Yeah, definitely. And this is giving me flashbacks, maybe a little PTSD to the Battle of Alberta series in our last playoff year. This is what Edmonton wants to do. They have the four. I mean, look, they have some of the best players in the world, and they have players who, especially with the man advantage, the top 3 in all of the National Hockey League, the top 3 point getters on the power play. Of course, we are talking about McDavid, Draisaitl, and then following them up, RNH, Nugent-Hopkins. So that's of every team, every player, they hold the gold, silver, and bronze spots when it comes to scoring on the power play. Look out! This is an Edmonton team that wants to score. They know they have maybe there's small question marks, but the question marks exist in net and a little bit on that defensive side as well. But they know how to put the puck in the cage.
Yes, they do. So I'm just going to change the title of this Twitter space. I'm just going to do NHL live look-in here as far as whatever we want to do. I'm down to hang out between these third periods or whatever we want to go over and just see what the rest of the night takes us.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have our featured matchup wrapped up, and now we can just kind of keep our eyes peeled. I mean, we have all night, but especially as we get into these later stages, John, it's just fun. It's fun to see things in real time and get an idea of where things are going to end up when the night is all done and the lights go out on the season. Man, I didn't expect the Pacific to be this interesting. I mean, obviously we're we're invested to a pretty good degree in Calgary, but it looked like the Knights were going to take care of business and get that top spot, take a banner, winning the division. But man, here come the Oilers on a mission, and then both the Knights appear to be going down, and the Kings, of course, going down as well. So who knows, my friend? It's going to be a tight race.
Man, I feel like honestly, that game, I know you didn't get a chance to look at some of the stuff on the video feed, but I thought that Calgary game and the LA Kings game might give me a heart attack, but that was one of the better games that I've seen Calgary play all year in a time that they really needed it. I think that there's going to be a lot to feel good about, especially when you look in the social media section. People should be pretty happy with Markstrom tonight. They look good.
Yeah, you know what? This is a fun time too, because it's almost like this is the after hours. Like we're in our like podcast edition now of this coverage. So obviously we'll still keep the broadcaster hats on, but this just makes me think as a fan the crazy things that we always think, John. Because what are the chances that in a game this critical, right? Of course, because I happen to live in the Los Angeles market, I have the game blacked out, regardless of who is logging I'm using, what service I'm trying to use. I do not have the option to watch the game. And it just taps into that superstitious part of me that thinks, if I would have actually had eyeballs on this game between the Kings and the Flames, would they have won? It's like the game's so important I can't watch it. And the hockey gods may have been looking out for me. They kept my eyes off of it, and they let you do the hard work and walk us all through that really exciting 2-1 final for Calgary. What a night! And I know I wasn't trying to be poetic. Their heartbeat is still it's still there. It's on the monitor. We see that EKG spiking just enough, and they're hopefully going to give the Jets a push here. And who knows? Maybe the Sharks will pull it out tonight.
So here's the deal. Upcoming for the Calgary Flames, and yes, I'm looking at this correctly. And no, that doesn't mean it's going to be an automatic points as you get Evander Kane being interviewed by Emily Kaplan. She does excellent work for ESPN. It's going to be Vancouver, Anaheim, and Chicago upcoming here for the Calgary Flames. How many points do you think they can get out of 6? You got to bank at least 4 of those, 5 of those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have Vancouver, Anaheim, and Chicago in that order. Is that right, my friend?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what? We saw what Vancouver was able to do tonight against the Blues, which was come back in the third period, late in the third period. 5-3 becomes 5-4, and thanks to a really excellent effort by Brock Beck. I think I know what happens. We know what happens when the Flames go to overtime. So I'm going to say the Flames get 1 point out of that, and then in my heart of hearts, I believe they can take down an Anaheim team that's really just been down and out. The Flames looked good against them down in Orange County several games ago. I think that final, I know the Flames scored 5. I think it was either 5-1 or 5-2. I would expect a 3-1, a 4-2 game where they win by just a decent margin. And then Chicago, also, we're talking about teams that are mostly down and out here. So you'd like to see another at least 3-goal performance. Maybe Dan Vladar gets a moment there to just keep himself sharp in case the Flames do make the playoffs. And Markstrom, certainly after an effort like tonight, deserves a little bit of a breather. So I think 5 out of 6, John. But that's me trying to be realistic.
Yeah.
And you have to be realistic with me. With every point so critical now, I'm not sure if 5 out of 6 is enough. I think you have to take them all.
Yeah, because I'm kind of actually going to say 4 out of 6. I feel like they might slip up because they've done so on some of these games. But I agree with you. There's no margin for error. You got to get the straight 6. And then, oh, by the way, will probably be our next broadcast with the Flames. This is off of a back-to-back. So it's Chicago and then Winnipeg. And that Winnipeg game is April 5th. So that is on a Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern. So that's going to be a early game, but that's going to be one I'm going to be doing. But it's going to be Vancouver, Anaheim, Chicago, and then off the back-to-back Winnipeg. So yeah, it's going to be critical.
Yeah, and listen, I will say this now, and I think you know this. Look, you're so good at driving coverage and really cherry picking the best matchups here. By no means, please do not, regardless of where they are and how close the Flames may be. Obviously, that's where I lean when I think about covering games. Please, I want you to lead the way. Aim where you want to aim. We'll cover what's most relevant. It's fun to be able to do this. We may not always have the luxury of doing multiples in the night. So that being said, obviously you and I will talk about, hey, what's really in that top spot, that marquee matchup that means the most, whether it's Eastern Conference, Western Conference, you name it. If it happens to be the Flames, great. I unquestionably hope and want to believe that matchup against the Jets is going to be, every game now the Flames play is essentially the most important of the season, and none more than the matchup against the Winnipeg Jets that's coming up. So hopefully we'll be able to cover that. But leading up to that, we'll play it by ear, and we'll take the marquee stuff first. And if the Flames get slotted in there for us, then great. I'll be smiling, but I'll have a smile on my face either way. It's just a joy to get to cover some meaningful hockey as we close in on the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No, I appreciate that, man. I'm just taking a look with the 7 games left. I see Winnipeg and I see Nashville. Those are probably the 2 that I get. Anything else, we'll figure it out as it goes. I will say this, as far as my rest of the week, I do want to try to, and that depends on Lauren's availability, so I might, maybe not work on Thursday, but I'm going to have an MLB opener, and I only have ESPN and MLB Network. I don't pay for any of the stuff with the packages, but the late game for me, and I'm thinking about doing that on MLB Network, is Cleveland Guardians and the Seattle Mariners. As opening day gets set on Thursday.
Yeah, that is definitely one that we should take a look at. And I know I have it's a brief obligation, but I will be available. And hey, even though there's a pitch clock now and things are moving more quickly, there's still a bit more of a window in terms of a broadcast. The length of a broadcast. Yeah. So I may be able to jump in with you, if not from first pitch. I think we'll be able to have some fun with that one. Yeah, I mean, Julio Rodriguez and these Seattle Mariners. We're talking about franchises looking for new eras in the NHL. Well, gosh, I'm tempting fate here because I'm a lifelong Seattle Mariners fan. But dare I say, with one of the top, I would argue, 3 starting pitching rotations, and probably top 5 or 6 bullpens, and some really, really strong young stars and some established players in the Seattle Mariners system now. It's going to be an interesting year, coming off of a playoff victory or playoff appearance, and the Mariners breaking that 20-year curse, my friend. I'd love to cover any and all Mariners games, but really any Major League Baseball. It would be new territory for us. I think we've done a little bit. I know we did some playoffs last year, but let's get into it. I'm excited as we hit spring here.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to do that. So as long as I can be available for Thursday, that's my plan. And then as far as next week, Monday, I know I have the national championship game. And then the following Thursday, I'll have my own assignment because Michigan is in the Frozen Four against the Quinnipiac Bobcats. So I'm going to have to do that game Thursday no matter what.
And you know what? I might have to be, even more so than I was tonight, I might have to just be an audience member for that one. I know that you have the expertise. I will just come on. You can let me be co-host for a moment just so I can scream into my microphone and go blue. I'll just get you going. I'll get you going. I'm going to be all maize and blue for that one, but I want to hear your coverage for that for sure.
I appreciate that. So that is my plan for Monday and for Thursday for sure for next week. And then we're going to try to be available for Thursday because I do want to do the Guardians and the Mariners to open that up. It's going to be a good opening day game late on that side because I'm going to try to unfortunately stay away from the Detroit Tigers as much as possible because I know that they're going to be lucky if they go 60 and 102. So I don't have much hope for that side.
Oh, the sweet, sweet Detroit Tigers. Yes. Look, there have been some wonderful years. My gosh, the legendary players. But, yeah, it's going to be might be a tough season for the Tigers, but you know what? We can hitch our wagons together to the Mariners. Hopefully, they'll take us to the promised land. And I think a lot of Mariners fans, we're all a little gun shy about being too optimistic. But I think the expectation is at minimum of making the playoffs again and winning a series, whether that's the wild card or one of the divisional rounds. But I also think a lot of Mariners fans are looking for potentially an ALCS berth. So that would be very intriguing. But either way, there's going to be lots to look at. You know, the Texas Rangers have a new look. The Angels, I mean, obviously, Ohtani and Trout after the legendary matchup in the WBC that you got to call.
Wasn't that great? Wasn't that great?
And absolutely, I mean, a truly legendary matchup, and you were on the call for it. I mean, that must have been so incredible.
You know what, man? I think about this, and I'm not poking fun of the Angels, but when you have Trout and Ohtani, is it ever going to work for them? They're in one of the longest playoff droughts of all time. I think they're tied with the Sacramento Kings for 16 years without the postseason. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, it's almost like baseball equivalent of McDavid and Draisaitl, except McDavid and Draisaitl and their supporting cast. I mean, I know they have Kane and, Hyman is no pushover. I mean, they have a roster, but you know who's driving that bus.
Yeah.
And they've driven them to the playoffs. They're driving them to the playoffs again. But that's not the case for a team like the Angels, who has the McDavid and Draisaitl of the baseball world. You would expect, with that level of elite ability, something to change, but they just haven't found it. And obviously, in baseball, so much comes down to pitching and that bullpen, keeping you in tight games and getting those W's. But, if the Angels don't make the playoffs again, what can you say? It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And honestly, I can say this, and it's the truth. Mike Trout has never made the playoffs in his career. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it sounds like a fiction. It sounds like nonsense. But truth is crazier than fiction sometimes, and that's certainly the case here.
So I'm going to pull this up really quick while we're in the middle of our intermission again. Opening day is going to be Thursday, so I'm kind of just moving this around a little bit before we actually get into our broadcast. It looks like when I scroll down, it's going to be Shane Bieber versus Luis Castillo. That's going to be a hell of a opening day matchup, and that will be at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. I'm going to have a call for that as long as I'm available. And then, man, I'm just excited because I'll tell you this, honestly, as the broadcasting perspective, I've only done a few baseball games here and there. I know we did the playoffs a little bit, but as far as the pitch clock and, bigger bases and some of these other things, I know people were arguing during the World Baseball Classic, and I want to make this point really quick. Man, don't slow the game, stop slowing the game down and all these other things because it's the intrigue for Trout and Ohtani in that bat. Look, we get that. It's intriguing when you got World Baseball Classic teams, but when you're playing against, and no disrespect, Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds in the dog days of summer, we're going to be happy to get an extra 50 minutes away from the broadcast. At least I will be.
Yeah, I think you're right on. And, I watched just briefly a little bit of the Cubs White Sox preseason game earlier today. And I wanted to focus on the pace. I was not even really watching the plays necessarily. I wanted to see the behavior of the pitchers and the behaviors of the batters. And really, it was not only as a fan to get used to watching these the new feel of the broadcast, but as a potential broadcaster, I wanted to see, okay, how much time am I going to have to tell a story, share an anecdote, recap some stats. And you know what? I think there's still going to be plenty of room for that. We'll all find a new rhythm, but the game's going to be better overall, I believe, with a little extra urgency.
I agree with it completely. So I know it's 6-3 in this contest. Do you want to go through the play-by-play, or how do you want to do this, my friend?
I don't mean to keep putting it on. If you don't mind, grab the first portion of this third period, John.
Okay.
I can swap it over for you. I actually having a late. The wife is coming back. She was at the office late tonight. I'm having dinner delivered, so I might have to step outside just for a moment to grab that.
That's fine.
So go ahead and keep it rolling if you can, and then we can swap over whenever.
I'll probably just cancel my Wednesday assignment then between Montreal and, or not Montreal, My goodness, Minnesota and Colorado, because I don't even know if I'm going to be available for that anyway. I do want to be available for Thursday. So we're going to get a little extra contest. I'm going to go ahead and save the pipes a little bit. I know it's going to be a big game, but I don't know if I'm going to be available tomorrow. But at least let's just have fun while we're on. If I get an extra talking time with you, I think that's more important. So I'm going to take that here, and we're going to go through this third period, and we'll see if there's going to be more than the 9 goals are already in front of us. So when this is all said and done, I will have the game story of everything else that we just covered between the Flames and the Kings. And that was big, and then it'll be resting time for me after this is done. But not so much resting time for Laurent Brossoit. I guess he's going to be in the net now. Jonathan Quick is gone.
Yeah, Quick gets the boot. Unfortunately, it is completely justified. So Laurent Brossoit is greeting his left post to the right post, saying, "Please help me out, friends, because I need you desperately. We're down by 3."
So here we go. We're at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, and again, with the LA Kings loss to the Calgary Flames, if the Knights lose, they'll get to stay in first place just by 2 points. They got 98. They're just away from the century mark. They got a long way to go to get back into this one. You never know, but it is the Edmonton Oilers on the other end, and I don't think they're done at 6. As Vegas has this now, they're going to go right to left and put this in up the inboards. Stuart Skinner will take a look at it as he turns this over near the left side of the red line now. This will be corrected by the mustard-colored jerseys. I know it's gold, but it looks more like mustard now. I don't like these ones as much as the first 2 years, as this is picked up now by Vegas. We're watching this one on ESPN+. I'm alongside Cooper Hopkins. We're taking a little live look in after the assignment. Am I reading this correctly? 34 shots to 12 in favor of Edmonton. They've absolutely destroyed Vegas in this game and still giving up 3 goals on the other side for Stuart Skinner. As this is settled back down, it's going to be a chance for Jack Eichel. Now Alec Martinez from Bertrangelo as he tried to fire a shot. This will bounce back in the middle of the paint, and this one goes just wide. I think it was Janmark trying to get a piece of it, but that's one will go back. And now collected as this gets knocked away from Martinez. And now Hyman will gain the entry as Brossoit will take a look at it again. He's the new goalie. Jonathan Quick got absolutely shelled in this game, but that happens when you're playing against Edmonton sometimes. And now Alec Martinez with his stretch pass. And across the red line now is Marchand will try to get to this, and he gets taken down by Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard's pass. This will get into the neutral zone now here for Edmonton. And Connor McDavid, as he will shovel this down. And I see a little bit of merciful play here for Edmonton as they're just trying to get some clears. They're not shoving it right down the throat of Vegas at the moment. As Barbashev kicked the live off the backhand for Nicholas Waugh. And this gets taken away. Here's Leon, but it's 1-on-2. Tries to get a couple of stick drags at it, but this will get picked up here by the Golden Knights. This bounces off the zebra with 17:50 left to go in the third, and this is picked up off the inboards. McNabb now settle it down. Zach Whiteclaw with a nice pivot, trying to put this in between the circle as one of the Golden Knights goes down. And I think there's going to be a penalty, a tripping call.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. And this is going to be a 2-minute trip right here. Yep, that's what we get from the Zebras. And there goes former Flame Brett Kulak into the box to sit. And if Vegas is going to make a push, now's the time. They have the man advantage. Let's see what they can make of it.
And that was as blatant as you get there as you got a piece of McNabb.
Yeah, that was one of the easier Kulak shaking his head in the box, but nothing to disagree with there as the Vegas Golden Knights have the ozone face-off here. But their centerman gets waved out, so let's see who's going to take it for the gold-clad home squad.
So you do have the mix in between Chandler Stevenson and Jack Eichel. So Stevenson, again, I always mention he's about 56%. He gets waved out. And now this will be Bukestad here to take the draw for Edmonton. As this is some body contact, but this is picked up by Eichel. He's going to play off the off wing, and he's got it now. The left side cross for Stevenson. Lets it go with the bomb. Stuart Skinner trying to locate this thing, and the play's blown dead. I think he's got it in his glove with 17:30.
Yeah, with all this goal scoring, you could expect more to come. But you made an excellent point at the beginning of this period, John, that it looks like the Oilers, I wouldn't say they're taking their foot off the gas, but I think the urgency around really adding tallies here is going to be far less than it was in periods 1 and 2.
Lock it down, correct? That's the strategy.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think at this point, it's almost the Bruins mindset, right? You have such a massive advantage play sound hockey. We don't have to make any risky choices. Let's just get out of here with the win.
So Pietrangelo now, the drop from Stevenson. Now it's Nicholas Waugh. Near the right side wall as Chandler's got it, but it goes just too far for him. Near the left side, Stevenson will pick it up with the help of Pietrangelo as he sends this around the inboards. Stevenson just able to hold that line, but the pass goes away. And now Eichel here for Stevenson is good forechecking there for Edmonton, be able to kill some time as it's Eichel trying to find it. And when he was at his best with the Sabres, you could not take him off the puck. As this is picked up here for Stevenson, now sent back around for Eichel. And this pass sails away from the former St. Louis Blues captain, Alex Pietrangelo, and we'll do it again. Eichel in the neutral zone, now back in the defensive side. Is Vegas taking a long time trying to get this breakout formed again? It's William Karlsson. He in the entry near the left side wall. Marchessault gets in his way, and Dorofeyev has it now. As we'll settle this back down here for Marchessault. Marchessault off the backhand. We'll play this back to Pietrangelo off the D side. It's Marchessault again. He looks for a deflection out in front, and this is kept in by Pietrangelo unbelievably. It's Marchessault with Karlsson. Back to Marchessault now, left side red line, and there's a centering attempt for Marchessault that goes wide. It's Phil Kessel, the hot dog man, works his way in. He wires it off the left side of the inboards, and Marchessault tries to get a piece of it for Derek Ryan. Derek Ryan trying to get it out, but Dorofeyev keeps it in. Here's a chance now for Kessel. Kessel, Marchessault. He'll fire it wide, just up the left side of the post. Dorofeyev will recollect for Marchessault, and this gets sent back down right up the man of the box. It's Kulak scores! Look what I found, 7-3.
Wow, John. Just a clinic being put on by the visitors tonight. Orange, blue, and white, and man, oh man, streaking out of the box in those colors is Brett Kulak. Let's remember that he's a defenseman, not even first pairing. He goes top cheese, picks the far corner. He was getting closed down by Pietrangelo and says, don't worry, I'll just shoot from here. Fires it in for number 7.
Perfect shot, Cooper, as you said. 7 goals for Edmonton. Right out of the box, you always talk about, you got to watch out for that Allison Chains there, the man in the box. That was Kulak. He knocks it down. It's 7-3. It's 10 goals aside between the two. And now Laurent Brossoit gets the first one edged against him in the score sheet, as this is a crazy game. 35-17 on the shot board. Vegas Golden Knights are getting pasted. As Brossoit's going to have to close this up for the third. This goes up in the netting.
Yeah, John, what can we say? I mean, this is just an incredible night if you're an Oilers fan. We're taking a look now, thanks to the ESPN side, at the Pacific Division. Right now, in order, Vegas, LA, and Edmonton, and then Seattle, Calgary, and Vancouver. So Calgary around it. We also have to keep an eye on the Kraken. If the Kraken were to go on a bit of a losing streak here, that could have big implications as well. Just the same, if they go on a little bit of a winning streak as we close out the regular season, that could move some things around. Yeah,
the Kraken have not been sharp since coming out of the All-Star break. I know they got beat up by the Minnesota Wild the other day and lost 5-1. They just need to be able to find some footing. And now I believe they're down to one goaltender. I think it's going to be Phillip Gruber. I don't know if Martin Jones got injured or if I'm not getting that one correct.
Yeah, I think he had an injury issue. We're not sure the length or if he's going to be out for any extended period of time. Grubauer, yes, he will take the crease. And the Kraken have been pretty tight-lipped about Martin Jones' status.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that because anyone that the Kraken plays in the first round, we know what they can bring offensively, but they got to be able to get some goaltending support. It's Cody Ceci trying to center this out in front of the blue paint, and this gets picked up by Vegas. Vegas absolutely getting blown out at T-Mobile, and I did see some Vegas fans leave the building after that Kulak last goal, but for Vegas, there's always gambling there. You always get a lot of visiting fans. I always like to say 50-50, especially when I went before the COVID time between the Red Wings when they won. That was an Anthony Mantha goal. And Stevenson is going to get one off of a rush, and this is saved by Skinner.
Yeah, Skinner with a pretty standard stop right there with the trapper. Just grabs it about collarbone high, and there goes Stevenson and Kessel to the bench. We see Jonathan Quick here with his Fanatics ball cap on. And yeah, John, we didn't get to go into too much detail about the Fanatics deal. I didn't realize that once Adidas is no longer the official supplier, the Fanatics is locked in with a year contract with the NHL. Fans a little questioned about that one. There's a shot right on by Pietrangelo. Don't mean to step on your toes there, John, but that's a nice save off the shoulder, and then caught by Skinner for another stoppage. 20 shots for Vegas now, 35 for Edmonton, 14-18 to go in the third. If you want to save your voice, I felt kind of bad. I don't mean to keep putting the onus on you. I don't want your voice to be so rattled that you can't cover your other games this week. I can take over if you want me to.
No, I'll just take the day off Wednesday. I want to do the Thursday game. I want to do a baseball game. We're going to go a little bit of everything, so I can hold it. So 14-10 here in the third. Go ahead and get your food or whatever else, and if anything else happens and changes, you can jump back in here. So McNabb, we'll send this back around, but this goes up and out of play. My main thing for Thursday is to make sure I can get Cleveland and Seattle, if we can do that. I want to circle that down.
Yeah, I think no question, and I'll give you the details too. I should be back not too long after that game gets underway. So I will, and actually I might. Now that I think about it, well, we're still covering this game. We'll talk. I'll give you the details. But either way, I know that I can join you for at least a good chunk of that one.
And I'll let you know to make sure if I can actually cover it. I'll throw that out there if things change. So 35-20 are the shots on goal here as it's 14 minutes left to go in this third. It's picked up now by Vegas. They are down by 4 goals. I can't believe I can say that too many times. Vegas has been one of the best teams all year, but they're just getting pushed around. Connor McDavid, he's just feeling the cross-check against Dorofeyev. He's being brushed. We're getting an extreme close-up as Dorofeyev now still trying to get a piece of it. And this is sent back down to be a race for the puck there for Hyman. He can't beat Zach Whitecloud to it. And the stick gets just sandwiched out of his hand. That was a lumberjack move as it went twirling all over the ice. And now Dorofeyev, well, with RNH, as RNH goes back in his own end. Evan Bouchard will pull this back on the defensive side, and this will get settled back down. Leon Draisaitl. This is a weird-looking breakout opportunity, and this is a 200-foot pass that goes off that stick that went disheveled and begin an ice.
Yeah, that was a weird one. You don't see a stick be separated from its player like that too often. But either way, pretty standard icing call right there, and we will resume in a moment with 13-13 to go here in the third. Seems like a foregone conclusion, but who knows? Maybe Vegas has a little jump left in him and might make this thing interesting on the way toward the end of the third period. But yeah, John, this is an absolute crazy night. 10 goals in this one. Just the 3 in our previous featured match.
Right.
The Flames get that 2-1 win.
Yeah, that's what's absolutely nuts about it. So it's 13 minutes, and the third now is flipped in away from Yamamoto, and now Pietrangelo gets a chance to get this one back in his own end. Now for Alec Martinez, and now Martinez with his stretch pass as this gets brushed back to Laurent Brossoit, and they'll have to just blast this thing off the inboards, work for a potential clear, sent back down, and Edmonton will touch up. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my out-of-town scoreboard and see what's going on between the Jets and the Sharks.
I can tell you, as you take a look and you tell me what you think. If you're a Calgary Flames fan, your eyes keep getting wider and wider. Could it be true? Can it be possible? Do you even want to say it out loud? I'm not going to say it out loud, but that is a score that I'm continuing to watch in San Jose. I'll just put it that way.
It's hard to believe when I'm looking at it right now, and I feel like I'll have my assignment to watch when I'm typing up the rest of the Calgary game because I can't believe it. 17-3-2 since the All-Star break in a 4-game win streak, 8-1-0 in the last 9 for Vegas. As we're watching this one on ESPN Plus with Cooper Hopkins and myself joining this in, and Vegas just getting absolutely housed by Edmonton. And again, depends on what happens to the rest of the Pacific, but there's enough time here, Cooper, where Edmonton could take a top spot in the Pacific.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. They don't have as much runway, right, when we talk about games in hand. But if there's going to be vulnerability on the part of the Kings and the Golden Knights, which we've seen tonight in completely different styles of games, completely different results. But this is just going to show that these top 3 teams can battle it out. Any one of them can take it.
Holy cow. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a goal and 4 assists in this game. He's tied a career high with 5 points. I know we're just joining this one in progress on that side of it, but my goodness, RNH, he's had a calendar type year as this gets iced.
Yeah, and now, John, this also the specific numbers may have changed because of the number of points that he has accumulated in this contest. But he is at a career high in his total points so far in this season, with multiple games yet to go. He's already in the mid-20s, like 20-plus points higher than any of his previous totals in the regular season. So he's having a truly career year. And if that can keep rolling into the playoffs, look out. The Oilers can make a lot of noise.
And I know we're in the middle of play, Cooper, but I want to follow this up on that side of it. I don't care if you're playing with Draisaitl and McDavid. To have that kind of jump is just something that you don't often see.
Yeah, and you know what? And you have to be opportunistic. You can say, oh, it's because he gets to play with McDavid and Draisaitl. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's true. But you have to make the most of it. And not every player who's been on this roster has been able to do that. But Nugent Hopkins, he's been a long-time Oiler for a reason. And you know what? He continues to get better. And when that kind of thing happens, and if they can get even decent goaltending, that's when you say to opponents, look out, we're really coming for you this year.
Yeah, and Edmonton's going to want to be able to turn things around. Look, there's no shame in being swept by the Stanley Cup champions. Edmonton kind of felt like they could have been one of those teams last year, but Colorado turned on that buzzsaw. And if they get a chance to play them again, they want to try to hope things are going to be different. But we'll see. I still think Colorado is the class of the league, and that's not just because they won the title. I just believe that from the onset.
Yeah, and you know, John, I mean, obviously they don't have necessarily the current longevity of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they're starting to remind me in the way they handle their business during the regular season and really ramp things up toward the end of the season. It's almost like a Western Conference Tampa Bay. You know, they have that core, they have that confidence, they have a coach that has a system that works, players that are bought in. Even after the inevitable roster turnover, players slot in and are made better by those core players we talked about when we were covering the Flames and Kings. And the Avalanche just know how to turn it on when it's time to turn it on. And we fully expect them. I think you and I both have agreed. We expect them to end up taking the Central and then taking out a lot of people on the way to, on probably another deep run in the playoffs.
No, I agree. I think that's where it's still headed. Again, I gave credit earlier to Minnesota because they've tried to make life difficult as possible for Colorado. Full marks to them for doing so. But yes, I would be really interested though, and I know this is just something that can only be imagination land. But let's say if Colorado was an East Coast team and having to go through that gauntlet, even as good as they are, would they be able to hold on against Carolina, New Jersey, the New York Rangers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Boston Bruins? That would certainly be fun.
Oh, it would. It would. You know, I'd like to just go with the easy answer, yes. But boy, when you just listed those teams off the top of your head, you know, that is a murderer's row right there. I mean, even the Devils alone, that's almost like, I'm like, if we slotted that in as the Stanley Cup final right now, I would be thrilled. That'd be an incredible matchup.
Yeah, because when you have, Vitek Vanacek, Akira Schmid, you got some people that are looking for some breakouts alongside one, Linus Ullmark for the Boston Bruins. And essentially, again, the seeding is going to have to depend on this. You could have a first-round matchup in the East for all intents and purposes where Boston's favored. You have Linus Ullmark and Elias Sorokin against each other between the pipes in the first round. That could be epic.
Yes, sir. No, this is great. This is why, see, you have it ready at the tip of your tongue. You're like, not only are the teams an interesting matchup, you're going goalie versus goalie. We could go D versus D. Which forwards are we going to see matched up against one another? Who's gonna flash? What young players are going to flash as goal scorers and make a name for themselves in the playoffs? That's a huge part of what's exciting about Stanley Cup hockey too, as well.
Absolutely. And I'm going to get into the play-by-play in a second, but when we do get to the end of the regular season, I will have my Stanley Cup playoff capsules for the first round as I did and get all those ones posted. It'll be a longer show that'll be on YouTube and the Twitter Spaces side, but we'll get all the information together because the capsules also help for the round matchups. That's why I do those. So it always does the double work to get it all done for the rest of the rounds. That's why it makes the most sense. As we have 9:20 left to go in regulation here, I think that's what we're going to get. And again, I'm looking at this on my screen, and I have to wipe my glasses. 60 goals, 83 assists, 143 points for Connor McDavid. He leads in goals, he leads in assists, and he leads in points. He is a special, special talent, and he only really needs one more thing in his Hall of Fame resume, and that's a cup, because you already know he's going to be a first ballot. As this is picked up down near the right side wall, it's tried to be sent across by Alex Pietrangelo, and this will be picked up here by Edmonton. And for me, I just want to see them locked down now. You don't really need to worry about it. You're already up by 4. As Evander Kane's opportunity will get picked up by Leon Draisaitl. And now this is in the high slot. This will get fought off by Brossoit and picked up now by VGK. They'll play this off the backhand. This gets turned over. Kaori Yamamoto gets a piece of it. As this is collected now in between the players' bench here for Edmonton. And they'll fire it right on, and Brossoit hold with the glove hand.
Yeah, now it seems, John, after that 7th goal, and listen, all credit to Brett Kulak, who absolutely wired his goal upstairs on the far side. You know what? That's a bit of a fluke. He's coming flying out of the penalty box after the man advantage expires. Of course, like you said, his opponent should be aware of the fact that he's going to be exiting the box. The Knights let that one slip a little bit. But now we're seeing with 8 minutes to go in our commercial break here, it looks like things are just kind of, I don't want to say cruising to a finish, but just a bit of a different game here. Things are quieting down a bit, and we may not see any more in the back of the net before this thing's all said and done. But you never know. Maybe Vegas just wants to push back a little bit and show the Oilers that they're not going to completely fold tonight, because who knows? They may end up meeting each other again in the playoffs, depending on where people are seated, or teams, I should say, are seated, and how things shake out.
Yeah, as it stands right now, Edmonton Oilers are going to get to 95 points. The Kings won't gain any ground. And to your point, Cooper, that could be a 2 and 3 type matchup where we could see this again. Who knows? So there's still a lot left to be determined as far as the Western Conference. As I refresh my board here, as far as these teams on the ESPN wildcard, I don't see any X's next to any other teams now, but we still have a lot of positioning left to go, as we have roughly about 10 games or less left to go in the regular season. So about 2.5 more weeks.
Yeah, you're right, and it's worth mentioning, since we've mentioned it quite a bit. Why not go back to the well one more time? Let's take a look in San Jose. Can it be true, John? It's 2-0 San Jose over the visiting Winnipeg Jets. 17.5 to go in regulation. Very, very intriguing.
Okay, so I'll be full marks and say that I'm willing to flip over for that one, but I'm not calling the play-by-play. You're going to have to do the due diligence for that one.
That's fair. You know what? I might do okay, because we have 8 to go here in Vegas, do you want to close
flip now?
Because it's more interesting, or do we want to switch it over and see what's going on with the Sharks?
Let's switch it now. How about?
Okay, so just give me 1 second. So if anyone's listening to this broadcast after the fact, we're jumping around because you know what? It's a done deal from the Fortress. Head back to the hotels. Have a late night dip in the Aria pool. There's nothing going on for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to take the loss of the Knights, as the Kings did up in Alberta. So let me switch over here on the ESPN side.
So I got Kyle Connor now moving this around the inboards here. Morrissey going to let one go. I'm not sure who is in net now for the San Jose Sharks, but I'll pull that up on my side as this gets sent back down the ice, and we get a stoppage with 16:37.
Thanks for picking me up there, as you always do. Yeah, this is an interesting one. So 23 shots, Sharks 27 for Winnipeg. And yes, they are currently getting shut out by the worst team in the National Hockey League. But this is an interesting one. Ferraro right now, John, who's missing some teeth. He's also going to be missing some time on the ice. He's going to the box for a hooking. Trying to see which Winnipeg Jet he hooked right there. But either way, he's going to the box. He is none too happy. So Ferraro's going to sit. 2 minutes on the board. Power play coming up for the Jets. And John, again, it was Niederreiter that was hooked. So that's right. He's heading back to the bench right now to get a breather. He was on for the previous shift. So I'm just going to bring up the rosters here, John. I know you have all this just in your database of a brain.
I got to do the same, yes.
But either way, we got Wheeler out on the ice for the Jets right now. This one is cleared out. And boy, it is just so strange to see hundreds and thousands of empty seats at the SAP Center. But here come the Jets as they dump this one into the far corner. So John and I are just gonna hang on. I'm just having, of course, you know me and technical issues. I'm just trying to load up this game on the NHL site to get the rosters going. So just one moment on my side. Either way, 90 seconds to go here in the power play. Schmidt backhands this puck along. It's held at the far corner and stepped into the far half board. Schmidt now in between the circles. This puck's going to go D to D. Now stepping in with a big slap shot. That's off the leg. Couldn't see which shark blocked that one, but a great job. That one's off a teal body and all the way back down to the Jets end of the ice, and it's touched by Hellebuyck. John, I know you have the feed as well. I swear I'm going to take over play-by-play so you can rest your voice. Let me just get these rosters up.
No, we're good. So I see I'm trying to pull up the rosters myself as this one goes up and on a play. We're just trying to get everything on the fly here. That's what we do. I know we have our one assignment. I get everything else prepped in front, but when we're taking a live look around the league, as fun as it is, it's also nice to have rosters in front of you. What I will say, James Reimer has stopped 28 out of 28. He is the big reason why the Sharks are out in front.
Yeah, I mean, this is a result. I mean, at minimum, I would expect things. This is going to sound crazy. At minimum, I would expect this to be the exact opposite of what we're seeing with a 2-0 scoreline for the Jets. But that's not the case right now. And listen, they're in a playoff spot for a reason. They're a dangerous team and could make a big change here very, very quickly. But here come the Sharks the other way. They're going to sneak this one out as they try to kill the penalty. And they will hold the puck with a great forecheck there in their offensive zone. But here come the Jets the other way. This one's skated out right now and then tapped forward and loose in front. Again, apologies, trying to get the rosters going here. And finally just got him up. That was an opportunity for Niederreiter. He was going to look to shoot on the backhand. And again, we see him head back to the bench, head hanging a bit as the puck bounced over his stick blade. So could have been 2-1, but the opportunity goes begging. And now 14:30 to go in the third. The Sharks have this one in their own end. We're going to clear this one out. This should be an icing call, but no, it's waved off. It bounced off a body at neutral ice. So the Jets are going to look to collect themselves here and skate this one through the neutral zone. But going down right there for the Jets is, thank you, come on, rosters, where are we? There we go. That was Sandberg falling. He blew a tire at center ice. But now the Jets will have the puck in their own end. They're going to send this one behind Hellebuyck. They carry it up the near boards, and the puck bounces right there. A bit of a turnover, so the Sharks have a chance. This one's passed across, and it goes wide through the legs right there. And that one's off of a skate. My goodness, the Sharks could have made it 3-0. That was Tomas Hertl, still on the roster. Yes, indeed, wearing his number 48. That puck he's going to want to have back. But either way, puck is currently trapped in the far corner to Hellebuyck's right. Lowry there battling for it. A couple of Sharks. The Sharks will come away with it. Nice backhanded pass right there. And there's a slapper from way outside. Hellebuyck gets handcuffed, and the puck drops right down near his trapper. John, a lot of activity to Hellebuyck's left, and Agazino is down. Semek is there for the Sharks, as well as McDonald. Now Schmidt's trying to pull McDonald out of there. And again, that slap shot caused a ton of chaos right in the crease.
I don't want to sound hyperbolic when I say this, but for Agazino, I've never seen somebody be able to make 3 backhanded attempts still on Hellebuyck while he was on his wallet. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that one you would expect to get whistled down. You know, usually the referees are going to kind of lean in favor of goaltenders, and not only just for pace of play, but for safety reasons. But that puck did bounce out of Hellebuyck's grasp, and then Agazino was right on the doorstep with multiple chances. But we had to commercial break. It's still 2-0. Frankly, I can't believe I'm even saying that. And in this short period that we've been covering this game now, our third of the night, John, that's a record for you.
Yes.
That's 3 games in one night. So credit to you for hanging in there. And you've done the heavy lifting throughout, really taking most of the play-by-play. But you know what? Dare I say, the Sharks have actually looked decent in these few minutes that we've been watching.
Yeah, I have, and I'm looking at the records here for the home at the SAP Center for the San Jose Sharks. They're going to get their 7th win possibly. They'd be 7-20-10 at SAP.
Yeah, and this would actually take the Sharks, if they're able to get the victory. Let's just confirm. I believe I already have this in my mind, but I think I'm correct. Let's take a look at their win totals. Yes, that would take them to 20 wins on the season. They would be the last team in the NHL to reach that mark. Columbus also has 53 points going into tonight, but they've done so with 23 regulation wins and then 7 overtime losses, whereas the Sharks have their 19 wins and 15 overtime losses, which, of course, John, worth mentioning here, that number tied with the Calgary Flames.
So, Cooper, which one's worse? Pittsburgh losing to Detroit or the Winnipeg Jets possibly losing one of the Sharks?
Boy, you know what? I don't think it's just recency bias. I have to say, when you are playing by win totals and tied in by points, the worst team in the NHL, yeah, especially if you're looking at this being a final score, that is a big old ouch for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
But plenty of time here in the third, John, as we are back underneath the action. Trademark John on. The Sharks touch up after an icing comes right off of the face-off. So McDonald flips that one up and hands it to the Zebras, and we'll do it again.
Well, I'm going to 100% be on board and say this, and I'm not even just saying this to be nice. I'm glad that we did this. It's been a lot of fun to get a live look in. It's late at the end of the year. There's a lot to be intrigued about, and I'm going to be honest with you. As far as the 2 out of 3, maybe the Flames beating the Kings, I could have expected that. But I did not expect the Sharks to maybe take out the Winnipeg Jets. That's one of the ones I wouldn't have called.
Yeah, well, you know what, John? They're making it more challenging on themselves right now. I was confused. I thought there was an icing call. It was actually a penalty being touched up. One of the Sharks committed a tripping penalty right there, and trying to get confirmation on who that was. I think it was Lindholm, in fact, who now is in the box. So just minutes after killing a penalty, the Sharks will have to do it yet again. Here comes Winnipeg, and they do seem to have some jump. They are definitely flying through the neutral zone here, trying to get established in the offensive side and get something going. They need to get one first. You got to cut this lead in half if you expect to get it tied and get the W. So here come the Jets. They have possession and step in from the near half boards. This one touched back right there. The Jets will hold at the blue line. Now it's dumped down below to the trapezoid. The one taken by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now all the way back to the blue line yet again. Puck at the far boards. Sharks circling, trying to regain possession. Can't do so. Now this one's going to be fired in. There's a save right there. A great stop, and it's knocked away. So a good stop from middle distance right there. And here come the Jets yet again. They are onside, looking to establish offensive zone time yet again. They're going to do so. Now the puck is at the near half boards. This one's going to be flicked back to the trapezoid yet again. Now it's pool balled off of the near boards, down to the far side. This one's sent into the crease off of the skate. Sharks going to look to clear rapidly here. Can't do so. It's held in by Winnipeg. Looking good on this power play, but need to get some shots materializing. Now it's held right there by the Jets. Then circling back in the near corner is Kyle Connor. Sent back to Connor. Connor's going to take a shot from the near side dot, that one blocker side easily. 17 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Connor yet again. He's had the puck a ton, but this time it bounces to the Sharks, and they will flip it down the ice with 11:30 to go here in the third period. So Carlson heads off for a change. Man, he looks furious. Looks like he wanted a penalty, but he will not get the call. Now we're back to full strength. I should say the Sharks are even strength for both sides, and the puck will deflect off of a stick and up into the players' bench. So with 11:16 to go in the third, John, looked like the Jets had some speed, had some organization there, but didn't get a ton of shots on that power play, and we're back to full strength on both sides.
I know I'm looking at a regular season game, but a potential playoff team in the Winnipeg Jets, and I make note of that power play because who was the featured man? University of Michigan product Kyle Connor with 4 shots on the power play alone.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. He was very, very busy. He made his presence felt. I'm sure he loved a little of that power play time back. He was all around it, got, I believe, 1 shot on. So I think officially 1 shot on the power play. We'll take a second look at that one. But either way, the Jets now win a face-off at neutral ice. And we are 9 minutes into this third period. It's a 2-0 lead, surprisingly, for these San Jose Sharks at home at SAP Center. They're looking to get out of their own zone here, having a little trouble doing so, but they'll bank this one and just sneak it into the neutral zone, where the puck will eventually be taken by the Jets in their own end. Now they're going to try to skate this one out.
Oh, wow.
Here they come. This is a pass across right there. It's flipped off of a to control this one. They keep it at the blue line, and a blast goes wide, and a shot from a tight angle goes right through the blue paint. The Sharks are getting pressure right now in a major way. There's a deflection that goes just wide of the near post. Could have been 2-1 a couple of times, and now a huge turnover. The Jets fire one right on, and the save is made. Oh my goodness, John! How did Winnipeg not get one in the last 30 seconds?
Man, that was a Nikolai Ehlers dance move that got me out of my seat. Vladimir Mestikov was in there with Wheeler. James Reimer, a shot goes just wide. He was trying to dive across as it just got sent across the blue plane. It was Vladimir Mestikov that wired it high.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that is 28 shots now. Excuse me, make it 30 shots for Winnipeg. No goals. 25 and 2 goals for the Sharks. Now the Sharks are going to pick this one up. It looks like, I don't want to say they're going into shell mode with the San Jose Sharks, but they have not done much in the offensive zone in the past 5 minutes or so. You'd think against a team like the Jets, you'd want to get one more for insurance. Now they have a little bit of a chance. This one gets dropped back, but off of a stick. That was off of the stick of Sturm. So he, again, just overskated that pass a little bit. Now it's come the other way. The puck is loose. Reimer has to knock it away with a big paddle. He was down and out, but the Jets couldn't lift it over the big goaltender. And man, oh man, Winnipeg making a push here about halfway through the third period, John. So here they come the Jets yet again. Tons of possession for the visitors. And there's a deflection in front. That one goes up and over the crease. The wraparound attempt is stopped. And all of a sudden, John, I'm getting my workout when it comes to the pipes. All of these chances for the Jets, but it's still 2-0.
I think you absolutely nailed it with the Sharks and their prospects of what they want to do. They want to try to lock this down, but I feel like the tornado's coming. It seems like Winnipeg's going to get one.
Yeah, it's one of those things, John. And listen, you've covered so much hockey. We have, as a broadcasting duo, covered so many games where it's almost a sixth sense, right? You just start to feel it. Obviously, the eye test tells us, okay, Winnipeg's been in the offensive zone. They've created chances. They're looking fast. They look sharp. They look hungry. But it's that sixth sense kind of in your gut. It just feels like it's a matter of minutes here before it's a 2-1 game.
Yeah, and dare I say, when you talk about Jacob Markstrom and the contest that we covered, I'm looking at this for James Reimer, 31 out of 31. It's probably his best game of the season, considering what the San Jose Sharks record is.
Yeah, absolutely right. Reimer looked really good. I mean, he's looked confident, and you know what? They are minutes away now. It's still several minutes, but we're talking about 9 minutes from a shutout. I can't believe that is even in the conversation here. Again, not to be too comedic about it, but I thought that we would be on the exact other hand where the Jets might be up 2-0, but here we are.
No, I agree with you completely on that side. When you said that initially, I was like, yeah, I could see a 2-0 easily for Winnipeg. Or be, a walk in the park a little bit as far as what I thought would happen. But sometimes things in the regular season surprise you, and this would be a critical blow for the Winnipeg Jets. Make no mistake about it, because if they can't pick up 2 points and Calgary's just 2 points behind them, that is a long look in the mirror after tonight.
Yeah, no question about it. And deservedly, Reimer getting a close-up right here, just like Markstrom did in our broadcast. We saw on the Sportsnet feed Markstrom making huge saves. Boy, John, you made some calls. Markstrom made all the difference in that one to keep the victory preserved for Calgary. Reimer doing the same thing for the Sharks here, at least for the time being, with 9.5 to play in this almost empty SAP Center. I know I keep harping on it, but again, just still so strange to see an NHL game. It looks like we're watching high school basketball out here or something like that. So now with 9 to go, the Sharks are looking to get a forecheck going, and they can momentarily. Now the puck's loose in the trap is already going to be taken by the Sharks here. But that bounces off the stick. It's in the near corner. Going to be sent out there sharply, and here come the Jets. They're going to skate this one to the neutral zone and flip in from center ice. Reimer looks to corral it, but can't do so. So the puck is now to the near point. It's going to go D to D. And this one's fluttered in and behind Reimer. I thought for a second that might have hit the twine, but it did not. Now Connor's out there yet again. The ice time increasing for him. Keep an eye on Connor and Scheifele. Those are the two big names you'd think that would get some offensive scoring chances here. Now puck bouncing. It's loose. Now shot from the far circle, John. That was in the high slot on the wide side. And that one bounces off a body. 8:30 to go here. The Jets with more extended ozone time. There's a dance right there. Puck left and shot on from the opportunities. Carlson out there, Zetterlund out there, and Agazino out there along with Couture for the Sharks. Again, we're closing in now on 12 minutes elapsed here in the third period. 2-0 San Jose in San Jose. This one's deflected along, but again, the ozone time unbroken here for the Jets as they get a partial change. And that's what's sent to the high slot. Reimer blockers it aside. Again, John, probably should be 2-1, but the Jets will collect after the Sharks clear, and they barely get a change now. They're just trying to catch their breath and keep the Jets from scoring, but they are hanging on by a thread, my friend. So here come the Jets yet again. Excuse me for repeating myself, but and then surprised that the Sharks come away with it. There's a shot from distance that's taken by Hellebuyck. And the Sharks now, they get to fill those lungs with some oxygen as Hellebuyck has to freeze it. 7.5 to go. Face-off coming up.
Man, Nikolai Ehlers got absolutely stonewalled by Reimer in the middle of the circles. That was an absolute ripper of a wrist shot as they continue to have the pressure in the Sharks' end. But Reimer continues to shut the door.
Yes, he does. And you know what? I will say, I think the Sharks are officially in shell mode. They've really dropped a lot of their defenders. When they're in their defensive zone, they shell back into the high slot and just try to get in the path of pucks. And here's a puck that's bouncing, and Hellebuyck tries to swat that one out of the air. He does so successfully, and his teammates are going to come the other way with it. But the Sharks get a stick on that one. It's found in the neutral zone by San Jose, and now they sneak past some Winnipeg Jet bodies, and they're going to try to wrap this one around. There's a pass, and it's snagged out of the air. McDonald fires with that left-handed wrister, and Hellebuyck says, nope, I'm going to hang on to that one. So another face-off coming up in the ozone for the Sharks.
That was a good-looking setup in behind the net for the Sharks. So you got to be happy with it. McDonald got in a really good position to shoot near the right circle, and that was a snazzy glove save by Connor.
Yeah, it was a necessary one. That shot by McDonald looks like it was headed just inside the post, so Hellebuyck had to make no mistake, and no mistake is exactly what we put on that report card for him. So Hellebuyck doing what he normally does. He stands tall more often than not. He's let in 2 tonight, which isn't a lot. You'd think that he'd get some run support, as the saying goes, but that has not been the case as this puck bounces out of play with exactly 7 to go.
I know I don't want to be disparaging when I say this, but I'm imagining that San Jose Sharks ticket prices aren't very high. If you're a fan here, you get to watch a win against a really good Winnipeg Jets team with 7 minutes left to go, possibly. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Sharks fans that decided to come to the rink tonight and the ones that have stuck around, they're getting rewarded. And time continues to tick away. The clock is not the friend of the Winnipeg Jets right now as the Sharks have the puck in the trapezoid behind Hellebuyck. Now it will bounce free. It's going to be skated away by Winnipeg. So here come the Jets. Ehlers has this one. He's coming up all the way on the near boards. Tries to center it. It will bounce out. Now it's a one-on-one the other way. Coming up those near boards for the Sharks. That one's centered into the slot. Now a wide-angle pass. And the puck was loose. If it would have been corralled, it would have been put into a gaping net. And now it's a 2-on-1 for the Jets. No pass across. The shot is right on. Turned aside by the pad of Reimer. So Reimer answers the bell time and time again. 6:15 to go here in the third. The Jets are up to 37 shots, John. Boy, when we started covering this game, I think they were at 23. So it's been a huge third period for the Winnipeg Jets in terms of chances and shots created. But now the puck is loose at center ice. Here comes Kyle Connor, who John Ott was talking about moments ago for obvious reasons. He's been on his radar for a long time. Connor on Ott's, that is. 5:50 now. The Jets are battling for the puck in the near corner, but the Sharks will come away with it and shovel this one out to center ice. And it's dumped back in by the Jets. Reimer takes it with the big paddle, and the Sharks will hold. They survey the scene. And Hurdle will take this one. He looks for the stretch pass near the penalty boxes, and this one will be scooted along toward the far corner. Not far enough for an icing, but it's taken right there by the Jets. Now the Jets are going to flick this one out of their own end. And we're closing in on 5 minutes to go here in this contest. Again, 2-zip, the Sharks with the advantage at home at the SAP Center. Puck at neutral ice. Kyle Connor getting a ton of ice time here right there, and it's going to be flicked in. Reimer looks to touch the puck, can't do so. It's at the far boards now, and boy, one of the Sharks goes down. It's kind of pinwheeled all the way down, John, but no worse for wear. Now the Sharks are going to knock this one in, but no, it's off a body and held right there. So here come the Jets. It's another partial 2-on-1, and the pass is behind. So the Sharks take over. And now the Jets are going to flick this one back to the far point. That one centered to Scheifele. That's off of Reimer's pad right there. Reimer again answers the call inside 5 minutes to play now with 4:35 on the clock. 39 shots for the visitors, 26 for San Jose. Unbroken stretch of play here, so I'm definitely getting my pipes workout. John Ott, he had to do multiple games. I already sound like I've done 3. He's the one who did 3. I've done a part of 1 period, John. What's wrong with me? I got to get the cough drops going. So here come the San Jose Sharks. They'll dump this one to the near corner. And this one's going to be chased down by the Jets. Jets will tap this one to the far side, and it's centered right there, kicked away, though. And again, I'm trying to get numbers here. I apologize. Normally we try to give more player names, but the rosters are acting up for me on the NHL site. But either way, play has been whistled down. Exactly 4 minutes to go here in San Jose. It's 2-0 Sharks. We'll take a break. And, John, can you believe what we're seeing?
No, I can't. And Dillon Dube, that was an absolute bazooka that he let go on the net that went up and on a play that could have easily won the net. I mean, from the last 5 minutes that we've watched, from some of the saves that Reimer's had to make, you could probably talk about this being a 4-2 scoreline for the Jets because every single one of these chances probably should have been converted.
Yeah, it's been an impressive push from the Jets, but you know what? Sometimes that's just not enough. You know, you find that extra gear, and I think they have launched into that gear. I think they launched into it, probably about 10 minutes ago when we look at the clock in this third period. But it just, for whatever reason, hasn't been enough. And I think the Kings probably felt that same way. They tried to find maybe a little different. I think the Kings tried to find an extra gear, maybe didn't fully successfully get locked into it. Definitely different when we think about the other game that we covered, John, the Oilers and the Golden Knights. In fact, since we moved away from that game, let's take a quick peek. And yes, as predicted, that game, although there was one change, I was about to say nothing changed there, but we left it, I think it was 7-3, and the Golden Knights did get one more, so they tacked one on from Marchessault late in that third period. About 90 seconds were left to play when he got his 26th of the year. So 7-4 final, my friend, and each of these games has been a little different, but who knew that the one that you would think would be the most likely to be a victory for the playoff-bound team, or at least playoff-bound right now, but we're getting a highlight package of James Reimer. When you run into a hot goalie, including a diving paddle save, did you see that replay, my friend? Reimer has been the reason the Sharks are leading in this game.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Again, we got the opposite feed, so we can give you both wherever we see. I got the Winnipeg Jets on mine for TSN, and I'm seeing a bunch of disheveled faces right now, but there's going to need to be some urgency in the final 4 minutes.
Yes, indeed. So once again, off of a face-off at the far end, the Jets are going to collect in their own zone. They have it at the far boards. Now we're going to send it cross ice, although this bounces off of the wall, and now the Jets will carry in. 3 Sharks are back. They'll make it 4. So again, that shell is as effective as they need it to be right now. And I mean, I guess it's working. There's a turnover and an obvious penalty. That's an unlucky trip right there. Sturm goes down after a turnover at center ice. And the penalty, John, is going to go against Josh Morrissey. So 2 minutes coming up, and that's got to put a huge dent in any chance that the Jets had left in trying to come back in this hockey game.
I want to take a look at if they show this actual penalty on my end, because if you're Josh Morrissey and you're the one that gets busted for that is completely obvious. That is the last guy that you want to take a penalty right now, because he's had such a great year. He's the setup guy in your power play, and he's in the box.
Yep, and that's, it's one or both of a couple of things here, and I want to get back to the play-by-play as the puck's about to drop on the face-off, but that's either just a mental lapse right there, or potentially even frustration after a turnover at center ice that was really his fault. But either way, he made it worse with the trip. And there's a shot from outside that Hellebuck's able to identify from Carlson. So just 9 seconds into this power play, nice glove save right there, pretty standard by the big goaltender for the Jets. And Carlson has a smile on his face. I think maybe he wasn't expecting a result like this either, but I'm sure he's happy to get it. It certainly seems like he will, with a minute and 45 in a man advantage for his team. So the Sharks are going to tip this one back to the blue line. It's held right there, and there's a steal at center ice. It's going to be a foot race, John, and closing back down is Carlson. There's a shot. Reimer can't find the rebound. Then he dives in front and gets a face full of snow. How did that stay out, John?
what the heck am I watching? What is Erik Karlsson doing? It's Adam Lowry. Great job by Lowry. Just get the toe drag on the other end to keep it alive. And James Reimer, that is a hell of a bailout there for the Sharks to keep this at a 2-0 score line.
Lowry, absolutely beautiful call by you, John. I didn't see the toe drag in real time in that slow-mo replay. That was a heck of a skill play right there. Then Reimer gives up 2 partial rebounds and closes the door on both. So that was a shorthanded chance right there that was denied by Reimer. Now one of the Sharks goes down to the far boards. And now it's going to be coming the other way. Kyle Connor, he's alone. Dances in, the puck stays out. One of the Sharks goes down, slides, and hits the boards. He pops back up. But John, how was there not a penalty there? I thought there might have been a hooking call. Either way, no whistle. This has been basically a power play for the Jets, even though they're down a man. So a minute to go in, let me make it clear, the Sharks power play. Now they try for a pass. This one goes to the near half boards. Karlsson has stepped in from his defensive spot. The Sharks just barely keep it in. Back to Karlsson, that right-handed shot. He holds. Looks to go cross ice, and that pass is deflected away, but the Sharks should maintain possession. They will do so. 2:10 on the clock. Karlsson, that cross ice pass in the far circle. Now down low, Hellebuyck way out of the crease. It is 3-0, John. It's a goal for the Sharks. He sends it in from distance. That is out. A name that, John, I got to be completely honest, I don't even recognize. With 2:03 to go, 3-0 Sharks. The Jets are going down.
I can't believe it. And they should be sending Christmas cards again. I know we got another year for that. For James Reimer, for 3 shorthanded saves. The Sharks do eventually get the puck back. Tomas Hertl patient as they find Kaut on the left circle, and they finish it off past a helpless Hellebuyck that tries to dive over, but he can't get the stick shaft in there in time. And if I need to pick you up for the last 2 minutes, I can.
No, you know what? I'll close the thing out, and big credit to Tomas Hertl, the pass where he stepped back and basically cleared his pass to Kaut through bodies. To have that kind of vision, that kind of hockey sense, incredibly impressive. And that is, Martin Kaut from Hertl and Karlsson. My goodness. By the way, that's Erik Karlsson's 69th assist on the season. He gets that secondary. So 90 seconds to go now. It's basically a foregone conclusion here, John. 41 shots for the Winnipeg Jets. Boy, another turnover by the Sharks. Even though they scored the goal in this period, they've had some messy play here. They're lucky to still have the shutout. Now Hellebuyck takes a shot from 100 feet away, and the Sharks are going to do a nice job on the forecheck right there. They look to center. That one is off the skate. So we're just going to close out the last 70 seconds here. It's 3-0 San Jose Sharks. What a result here. I cannot believe it. And there's a trip right there that's not called. One of the Sharks that goes down in the near corner. And the Winnipeg Jets will hold. They have it at the blue line. They're going to try to center it. And this one bounces off the boards in the near corner. Here comes Winnipeg. No, make that San Jose that takes over. And they're going to knock this one all the way down. I think we're going to have an icing here. And with 45.1 on the clock, yes, we will have a face-off coming up to one of the face-off circles. It's got to be what? It's got to be Reimer's left, if I'm guessing.
Yes.
But, John, can you believe this? I mean, after everything we've covered tonight, the goal fest in Vegas, the tight finish with multiple goals called off in Calgary, now we have a shutout with 45 seconds to play. There's the face-off. It's actually to Reimer's right, so of course I was wrong in my guess. It was a coin flip. But Karlsson holds the puck in the trap zone behind his goaltender. And the Sharks are going to skate this one out. Looks like the Jets are, I think they're calling it off here. That one almost goes in on the near post side to Hellebuyck's right. Sharks have it right here in the near corner, and they're going to tap this one back out along the near boards where it's kept in. Nice job by San Jose there. But I guess it just snuck to the neutral zone. So 21.7 on the clock. And there we see McDonald, Theo Lindblom head back to the bench. Can you believe that the boys in teal, John, are going to get the W?
David Quinn's going to look on, the head coach for San Jose. He's got to feel pretty good. I can understand James Reimer with 41 saves, but this is a brutal loss for Winnipeg.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it does not indicate the effort. We saw Mark Edward Vlasic and McDonald for the Jets. For the Sharks. I mean, they have absolutely done what's necessary, and now as the final seconds tick off here, they did more than what's necessary. They got 3, in fact. All they needed was 1, John, and they tripled it. And Reimer is the reason that the Jets get the shutout tonight. We saw that highlight package as he gets the celebration and the taps on the helmet, the taps on the pads. More than well deserved. Again, almost unbelievably, the worst team in the NHL take down the Winnipeg Jets by a final score of 3-0. And the Sharks, welcome to the 20-win club, friends. You finally made it, and you did it against a pretty dang good team, too.
Yes, they did. And now, as we said, we can look at it and close the capsulate to this night. The Flames still only 2 points now away from a playoff spot. And again, they pulled to an even game total of 75 games played for both the Jets and the Flames. And if you asked us, and we said this openly, in between the three results, and we'll go over them really quickly, in between Calgary and LA, that is one. In between Nashville and Boston, that is another. And the final one between Winnipeg and San Jose, which would be the most surprising. This is the most surprising, and it's not even close.
Yeah, no question about it. You and I agree 100%. I mean, we often do, but there is no way to deny that truth. It's the fact that the Sharks got the win. That's surprising enough, but to do it definitively, 3-0, and with a bit of messy play in the third, but doing what needs to be done. You know, you don't always have to be perfect. Sometimes you go into that shell mode, and it's exactly what's needed. The Jets just could not break through. Kyle Connor certainly gave his best effort. They had a couple of power play opportunities that fell by the wayside. So the special teams for the Sharks, and their 5-on-5 play, those were good enough. They got what they needed, and James Reimer with a performance that really should be highlighted. So really excellent goalie play in 2 out of our 3 matchups, John. Tip of the cap to Markstrom, a second tip of the cap to Reimer. I don't think we're going to give any tips of the cap to Jonathan Quick, who ended up having his own cap on when he was down on the bench. So Laurent Brossoit could come in. And Skinner gave up a few of his own. So, John, what a night in the NHL and in the Pacific Division in particular. Man, I'm glad we could do this tonight.
I'm glad we can do this, and I'm going to close this out because I'm going to get the heck out of here because the next one is going to be Thursday for me. That should be a baseball summit if I'm available in between the Seattle Mariners and the Cleveland Guardians. But let me just say this. Let's give you the final point totals of the night. So Vegas Golden Knights with 98. They don't gain anything as they lose to Edmonton. Edmonton pulls within 1 of second to 96 of the LA Kings. They can't get points against the Flames. And in the Western Conference in the Central, the Central is only ahead by 1 point, as it's 94 for Dallas, 94 for Colorado, and 95 for Minnesota. So, my friend, there's so much left to do. At the end of this regular season, it's going to come down to Game 82. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had so much fun tonight. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, man, get out of here. I know it's late for you over there. Hey, it's just 10 o'clock over here, so I'll be up for hours. I'll be good to go. I'll get lots of sleep. But hey, excellent work as always. Thank you for picking me up, even though I had the issues with the feed and the blackout. So much fun, great games, and yeah, we'll be in touch about a little bit of Major League Baseball on Thursday, John.
All right, sounds good. Talk to you then.
All right, pal. See ya.